Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. It's, what is it? Today is the March 12th at 6:30, and I want to call this meeting of the Woodstock Village Board of Trustees to order. A couple of things before we get started. For those of you who are new here, or just a reminder, the agenda for the meeting is available online on the town website. There's also a QR code up here. If anybody, you're welcome to come up here and scan the QR code. That will take you to the Village Trustees page that has the agenda, so you can follow along with us, because it's a little long this week, but that's okay. So feel free to do that. And then when we vote on things, we use something called Rosenberg's Rules of Order. There's an extra up here if anybody wants to take a look. The thing that's helpful for people to know is that when we vote on something, we like to front load the comments from people. So when we go to discuss something, we'll first ask for comments and input from people online and in the room. So make sure that if you are interested in letting us know about your thoughts or opinions about anything, that happens at the beginning, and then we go into discussion, and then we vote. So please stand up, and if you're going to speak, we're going to ask that you come up to the podium here, and because that will have a microphone so that everybody on Zoom can hear you. I'll turn my computer around so people can as well. So with that, we are going to start with citizen comments. Are there any citizen comments tonight? Anyone online?
Is there anyone?
Okay, then we're going to move to additions and deletions from the posted agenda. Jeffrey, you had something?
Yes, brief discussion about the village meeting of March 19th.
Okay, so I think we're going to add that. We'll add that to discussions.
Fine.
That's okay with you?
That's fine.
I would want to take off the Bond Street item as well. That's for the town, not for the village.
Okay.
They'll be discussing that next week.
Okay, so take number 7 off of your list for discussions, please. Okay, any other additions to or deletions from the agenda? In that case, we will move forward with the manager's report. Eric?
A few things. First, as Jeffrey just alluded to, Tuesday, March 19th at 7:30 is a village meeting. I encourage everyone to attend. That's where we'll vote on the budget of the next fiscal year. There are annual reports I have here in a box there. If you want some before you go home, please take some.
Wait, Eric, just quick correction.
Yes.
Before the annual meeting at 7:30,
Yes.
we're having a village social gathering in here at 7 p.m. until 7:30.
Okay.
Just so everyone knows, and there will be refreshments.
Okay.
And we invite everyone in the village to come and meet and mingle with their neighbors between 7 and 7:30.
Perfect. Thank you. And between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., you can come vote on Australian ballots. There is an open seat for the trustees for next year with 2 candidates currently running. So your vote, it will impact the makeup of the trustees and then how those votes happen in the next year. And also refreshments. So perfect. And I will start pushing that out on all our online communications. We started today with a Substack. I'll listserv tomorrow morning a few more times between now and then on the listserv, on our Facebook page, and on our website as well, to try to get the word out as much as we can in the next week or so. We received a draft of the audit this week. So we're going through and supplying more information as requested by the auditors. Once we get that back to them, hopefully we'll have something within another week or so for the board to look at. I want to just thank again the DPW for their work over the weekend. It's been a very trying winter. We seem to go back and forth between winter and mud season, depending on the week. So a lot of the roads have been very difficult. A lot of trees came down this past weekend. Just want to appreciate all the work they've been doing to keep the village and town clean and passable as much as they can with the conditions we're facing. Thank you again to Mark Hunter and his entire crew. Last 2 things. On March 27th, there's going to be a special joint meeting of the Board of Trustees and the Select Board to get an update on the short-term rental procedure going through the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission voted last week on these changes. Stephen Bauer will be here to give kind of a summary of what those changes are. And then we'll have another meeting, we're looking at the end of April, where we know the joint meeting with the boards to ideally vote on that ordinance to pass it. The point of the meeting on the 27th is kind of give an overview of what the planning commission has done, what they're recommending, give the board a chance to read it, understand it, ask kind of questions then, but then have a whole month to meet with Stephen or the planning commission to talk about it in our public meetings to kind of be as informed as possible, allow residents to know what's going on, and then so we can have an informed opinion in April when that vote will happen. Finally, because this is happening before the next meeting, on April 1st and 2nd, I'm hosting a municipal managers summit here in the Woodstock at the Woodstock Resort. We have 21 municipal town managers from Vermont and New Hampshire attending for a 2-day conference. Part of this is happening with support from the EDC along with a few other local sponsors. But we're really excited to kind of get this collective together and talk about larger issues and challenges that we're all kind of facing, but never have the time and resources to deal with it. So we sold out within a week of reaching out to people based off just one email. So there's a large appetite for this happening. And the hope is this will be successful, and then we'll have one annually, and hopefully that will grow, but also kind of quarterly check-ins, have tasks, have working groups throughout the year to kind of really give a regionalized efforts for managers for things we can't work on when we don't have time, but kind of as a group we can do it. So I'm excited for that.
Is that your idea?
Yes.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
So that's all I have for my general reports. And we go on to the financial reports. If you take a look at it, we're about 66% of the way through the year. If you see at the bottom, we're going through about 63.5% of our expenses. Revenue continues to be quite strong. Again, I just want to point out planning zoning at almost 150% of their budgeted revenue for this current year. That's based off, if you remember, Stephen Bauer came in front of the boards, increased the permanent fees after the budget has been set. So we're seeing that some of these increased revenues has been budgeted for next year, but not all of them. So again, we're hopeful that this continues and we'll see more revenue coming in. Looking at police, you know, credit cards, 124% over. Police contracts, 85%. Parking meter revenue, 62%, and that's just through January. That's still lagging a little bit. So I think overall, a very positive place right now.
2 questions.
Yep.
Police administration, salaries and wages at basically 100% in 5 months to go.
Yep, so that is because when Robbie Bush retired, he got paid out in July. He got paid out for a bunch of vacation time, old sick time as well. So that money is right there. We do have the money in the capital reserve fund for sick time payout and vacation payouts. What we're going to do is wait till the end of the fiscal year and we transfer over what we need to keep that capital money there for future concerns.
Okay, so if we took that out, do we know if that figure is pretty much online?
Yes.
Okay. The second question I have is short-term rental registration. You know, we're showing 0.
Yep.
And I'm wondering, aren't we going to be sending out word for people that because they have to register by the end of April?
Yes.
Or
yeah, so we will be sending stuff out. But also, if I could, I'm going to use this as a plug for what the Planning Commission is going to recommend. A lot more oversight into this process. So we're going to be able to track short-term rentals much more easily and have an idea of where everyone is, and also require them to do a permit with actually consequences after the fact.
Well, we have consequences now. Question.
Yes, this is going to be an ordinance that will be much easier to follow, much easier to enforce. I'll leave all the details to Steve when he comes, but this is one of the reasons that we're looking into this is we kind of have a system where we send an email, we send a phone call. There's not a lot of strict regulations on it, and this is going to really help us kind of know where everyone who has a short-term rental and making sure they're following all the same rules and regulations at the same time.
And so for now,
we'll
given what we've got,
yeah,
mid-March, shouldn't we be getting word out that
Yes, we will be.
registrations
Yeah.
due in April. I think we should do that multiple times.
Perhaps.
Trustees, do you have any questions or concerns for Eric? Okay. In that case, let's move on to the police chief's report.
All right, good evening.
It
Starting with meters. So February 4, kiosks were brought in 2,293.55. Meters were 3,362.55. Park Mobile had the most with 4,860.25, for a grand total of 10,516.35. For comparison, February of 23 is 10,407, so just a notch above that. And February of 2022 is 8,331. So we're above where we were last year, which is still 2,000 more than it was the year before.
And then it's the second month in a row where it's almost.
Almost pretty on par.
Yeah.
So I think for some of these maybe winter months, we're starting to hold steady. I think Patty's Day is coming up on the 17th, so we'll be doing some high visibility enforcement that evening, the Sunday, the March 17th. And so that evening we'll be out on grant funded highway safety, doing high visibility enforcement. They've started the build on our last cruiser. I talked to them last week. I'm hoping that is done this week, and I've got it scheduled for graphics at the end of next week. So I'm anxious for it and to get it in, but we should have that very soon. Been a long time, but
Yeah, that one's.
been a long.
That one's behind.
No, I kept hoping to be in November, and then I was hoping December.
December.
Here we are in March, and we'll have it before April. Any questions?
Oh, yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to bring up the library law.
Yes, absolutely.
Proposal. You.
Great.
So, the state is temporarily moving their courthouse from White River Junction to our courthouse here for a period of 12 to 24 months. And they have requested parking spaces. We are offering them 8 spaces in the library, which we rent.
Yes.
That means we will have to move 2 permitted people, the current permitted people, to the Mechanic Street lot, which we have room to do under the new plan we're going to be presenting. But so the question is, what are we going to charge the state to park, taking away parking space from the public, which will cost in more than just meter money?
Right.
There's 2 numbers for us to decide on. One would be to charge
Got it.
$100 a space per week, $100 a space per week, or $75 a space per week. That would be income to us in lieu of those parking meters. And that comes out to, the first one would come out to $41,600 a year. Second would be $31,200 a year.
Would that just be Monday through Friday?
Yes.
Yes, Monday through Friday.
How did we come up with those numbers? Like, why
But,
would we charge, what's $75 versus $100?
well, first of all, taking what it would cost, what we would lose just in meter money, and then adding on top of that, the loss of public spaces, people who might be shopping in Woodstock. And then will not be able to for that extended period of time. You know, we're short on parking spaces during our busy times of year. So that seems like a.
What hours is that? Is that 8 through 5 or 9 through 5?
Currently currently 10 to 4.
Currently 10 to 4.
It's gonna be
It's going to be
5.
It's going to be 10 to
10 to
5.
10 to 5.
It's going to be 10 to.
And also, I mean,
In that lot?
courthouse opens at 8, so really those spaces are not open, even though they're not metered,
Okay.
but, you know. So it's really 8 hours a day, or 8.5 for lunch break.
Is this new cost of the parking space in line with what you have read to have done with the study and what you're gonna propose? 75 or the 100? You're proposing 75 and 100, but
Yeah.
you're also looking at parking spaces and what the charges will be for all
No.
those parking spaces.
No, it's different than what public parking spaces are going to be.
Okay,
They're going to be 7, from 10 to 5. We're not changing the $1 per hour. It's still going to remain $1 per hour.
no, but we also talked about permits for people to park on the
Permits,
street.
yes, permits are going to be based on the $1 per hour, $7 a day.
So why the
First.
disproportionate 75 or $100?
So,
Well, if you add,
now that's per week, Dave.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
That's per week.
okay.
Okay,
So it's really 7 times 40.
so, there's a big difference there. And the money is would come if the state agrees to it from the state.
from the state,
From the state.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of the larger figure. We're losing the
Again, it's 5 days a week from
5 days a week.
10 to,
We don't know when it starts exactly. though, do
Okay.
we?
right, we don't have an exact start date for the construction. It would likely be August or September, so right before our crunch.
yeah.
So
Are they gonna provide signage or do we have to pay for signage? Because we're gonna have to change our signage out.
I haven't discussed that with them.
It would be great if they paid for it.
I can ask them,
Okay.
if we can write it into the contract.
It would be private, but it basically be saying.
Yeah, it would
Parking only in the entire lot,
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday, yeah. And that would be what we need to let the public know.
Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 or.
8 to 5.
How long are they gonna be there? You're gonna have.
There's
12 to
But
20, 12 to 24 months.
Construction goes,
As long as
They don't-
construction, yeah.
they can't say precisely. A
They're-
year would be the minimum. it
they're
seems.
hoping for 12, so they say maybe up to 18, but I would plan for up to 24, just so we're not caught short-sighted.
So, anyway, any other thoughts from the trustees? I mean, I'm for asking the state for the inconvenience and the loss of those spaces, to pay that higher figure.
Do we need to vote on this?
So you're only contract once the contract is signed. So this is more just, it's almost like allowing Joe to go.
Just allowing Joe.
Okay.
I don't want to go to email them back with just kind of a casual number without having presented and talked
Okay,
to the board.
I appreciate it. I'm comfortable with $100.
Okay. It's in-
Gabe,
Yes.
okay, and a sign.
And signage.
Yeah.
And signage.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want that to be out of pocket.
Sounds good.
And will we have to will we have to put signs or anything on the parking meters? We're gonna have to change those stickers out, right?
Probably not, because their signage, the stickers are, I think are the old stickers is just sort of say 8 to 4:30, then there's signs on it to say court parking, like Monday through Friday or something.
Okay,
So.
but we'll have
probably
to
just
add
take-
some stickers.
We'll probably just take those signs down and put up signs at the entrance that says, library and court parking Monday through Friday, or like something like that.
Okay, and where else would that information need to be changed? Like, obviously, the chamber needs to know about that because they probably have it on something.
Yeah, so, we also need to talk to the two
Beth is
people.
nodding yes.
Oh, yes.
We also need to talk to the two people who have the permanent parking space now, and make sure they're okay moving to Mechanic Street as well.
And that's going to be more convenient for them.
Yeah.
I believe they work at Sudie's, and it's gonna just put them closer to where they work.
Yeah, I think it won't be a problem, but I had mentioned to Eric, that, I'll give them a call next week. Michelle's on vacation, so I'll get their info when she's back.
Okay, and have you let the library know about this?
I will, yeah, I can.
Yeah, just,
I haven't yet, but I can.
okay. Anybody else?
Just want to mention that, I think we want to put on our agenda, perhaps for the next meeting, a possibility of some changes in, parking violations. People who are parking in improper locations and changing the fine. The fines, we're not going to do it tonight, but.
Yeah.
When we go through that, I went through today, on the different appendixes and resolutions that we have and marked out what we'll need to change for some of the discussions that you had. So that way we can do it in one sweeping, and I could probably have drafts for you for April.
That would be great.
Great. Thank you.
I just have one more thing.
Yeah, please.
I think we've talked somewhat privately, some publicly of kind of maybe changing a little bit of the police report and having the chief comment on more things. So I don't know if it's a good time to kind of have the board start thinking about what else they want chief to mention when he comes up here, you know, over the past month, between months of, maybe not for today, but just while he's here, you know, he wants to start thinking about what are the things you want to be included in his reports. So when we have the joint meeting in a few weeks about goals and expectations, this can be part of it.
I mean, I have ideas.
You,
Me, yeah. I mean, one of the things that I would want to see is, you all do such a great job, with the end of the year report saying there were this many car accidents, this many, and for as much as you have that, I know it's not as always easy. You can let us know.
Do you want some of the highlights maybe, or do you want?
Yeah, I think the highlights, and I think even though we're village and not town, because you belong to us, it would be great to have a sense of, you know, there were this many speeding tickets in the town, this many, I don't know how you can. parse it out.
I'll see what I can put together for next month, and if you want me to tweak it, I'm happy to.
Yeah.
As we figure out what you're looking for.
And a general sense of, you know, not what you're doing every day, but, you know, if you have a focus on this month because it's summertime, you're looking for, there's certain things you look for summertime because people drink more, or in the fall, you're looking for people that are distracted because they're looking at their phones and looking at foliage, you know, ideas of what your focus is for the next month, or, you know, what you saw in the previous month about, you know, you wanted to do more patrols because it was snowy and people get stuck, that sort of thing. Just, I would love to know what you all are doing.
I'd like to know about trends, if any trends that start appearing involving our youth or involving crime in general. Whoops. In general, any sort of trend that you're noting versus the past.
And how we can be helpful. If there's anything that you all need from us.
Okay.
Feel like, it'd be great if there was an ordinance that did.
Absolutely.
Bless you. Awesome.
That is
Anybody
all
else
I have
have
right
anything
now.
for our chief? Okay,
thanks, chief.
thank you. Okay, next item on our agenda is permits. The first permit is the annual alumni parade from the Woodstock Alumni Association.
Do you want to do all three at the same time?
Yeah, if that's okay with everybody, the 3 Alumni Association ones. Okay, so first let's start with the annual alumni parade. Hello.
Hi, I'm Dennis Wright, the coordinator for the parade. And June 50, it's an annual event, and the police are great with traffic control and so on. Our part is floats begin at 2 o'clock, leaving Vale Field area, coming down South Street to the inn, hanging a right as Bob Hager explains what's going on, down through the village to
Drive-up.
the park, beautiful beauty parlor, and takes a left, he comes up to Elm Street, a left at the Congo Church, back into the square where the dummy, and right again down through town to around the end of the green and back on South Street, and that's the end of it. And there's no fireworks.
That one your map?
Is that Pew?
Is this your map?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is, yes.
I have another one if you need it.
I just want to make sure I was looking at the right one.
And it's, I guess I would want to have you ask questions if I can answer them.
Any changes from
No,
previous?
except that Elvis is not going to perform this year. It's going to be Johnny Cash.
Still gonna have some clowns there.
Oh, yeah, no parade without that. Not many changes, so we sure hope there's more floats from high school kids and classes that have already graduated. And we encourage trustees, the police department, the Masons, whatever, they'd like to have a float. The theme is TV commercials from the past to the present. Things like, you'll wonder where the yellow is. So there you have it. But,
Gonna have a Marlboro man in, right?
oh, boy. Yeah, probably. Does anybody have a question?
My only question is, and maybe Joe can help with this, in the past, sometimes with parades, things tend to lag. And so I know we want to kind of, with the traffic, did you have any concerns about this parade in that manner? And
Yeah, that's been an issue with every parade.
yeah,
But having somebody there, to keep the flows up with each other. Or even if it's slowing someone down a little bit. But,
Yeah, we did hear that last year. We talked about it. So with our meeting, to try to keep things closed up. But there are things that happen sometimes, that you wonder after discussing it, how it possibly could happen, but it does. And we just hope that everybody can be patient, including folks from New York trying to get through. But, these guys did a great job with traffic. They're putting up the, no parking signs at the right time. We put some up at the end of the day on Friday at, down South Street from the Catholic Church down, to the golf course on both sides. After everybody has finished their workday, I run around and put in signs so that floats can line up with not, and to avoid, traffic, maybe showing up for the parade and being where we need to be. I don't think there's anything particularly new, but I guess if there was something drastic, we'd make sure you know. But we're aware of that problem. We try to take care of it. And Bob Hager up there is a big part of trying to help that along.
and you all have your certificate of insurance? I just hadn't seen it here, but
It's
They should have, yeah.
ordered. I mean, all the paperwork is filled out with the company. In fact, I heard from them yesterday saying that it's on its way.
okay.
It'll be here in, I'd say within 2 weeks. Going to go into the other,
I'm gonna go take a vote on this first and then.
Yeah. Is there any comments from
we had talked,
can you stand near is the microphone up there?
It is.
We had discussed in the past some of the discrepancy of cost of traffic control in the police department from different events like the parades and the turkey trot. It could be a pretty significant expense, but to the department, but also this isn't a fundraiser, so I don't know. We had talked about evening the policy across
Okay.
the board, but I didn't know what the trustees would like.
What is the normal practice?
Per officer, it's 4 hours at $75 an hour to the department, and then some of it gets kept to the department for vehicle and other items, and then some of it goes to pay the officers. at the
So you
contract.
said 4 officers for 4 hours?
Good.
One
Per
officer,
officer is 4 hours.
4 hours minimum.
Okay,
So it's about $300 per person. And I don't have it off the top of my head what the roster looks like, but it's pretty expensive.
One officer's on duty anyway.
Yes.
and then you have to bring in how many for a parade?
Probably about 10 or 11, so probably looking at several $1,000s.
Oh,
So you need an officer everywhere where you stop traffic. You need someone
Yeah.
inside to maintain order, and then you need someone still on duty as well.
So as we've talked before, instead of having an actual police officer, what if we had a crossing guard that would help to maneuver traffic?
So I have to look at the union contract because they may have a stipulation for that they have to be the ones in charge of this because it is a separate fee
Mhm.
for an officer. But second, we don't have any crossing guards on staff. They're the school staff. That'd be, we have to hire someone or designate someone to do that separate. So, Joe, can you maybe just for the trustees' sake, give a example of parades that you charge for, then parades that you don't charge for currently?
Currently, we don't charge for, in past years, we haven't charged for Memorial, Alumni, Wassail, and Veterans Day.
Yeah, but any other parade that happens, you do charge for
Right,
You said Memorial, Alumni, Wassail, and
veterans.
veterans.
The
Veterans.
veterans one's pretty minimal. It's usually 3 or 4 officers.
And you don't want to
I don't,
continue to offer that?
I just wanted to bring up for sake.
That's $3,000.
fairness to
Yeah, well,
everyone.
it's two things. One is the equity of what we're gonna charge, who we're in charge, who we're not gonna charge, but also it's a hit to the chief's budget if we're spending $3,000 for 4 parades over the course of the year. That's $12,000 unbudgeted for potentially that he has to then make up through the course of the year, because it's not work hours. It's calling in someone that normally wouldn't be working, and you're paying them a certain amount of money.
I'm still not clear about what we did last year.
No, so
We paid out of, we just paid out of the.
Yeah. So
budget.
so a parade that requires 10 officers,
You paid it out of budget.
yeah,
Yes,
Like salaries, wages.
yes.
Okay.
So the point is, if there is a parade, it costs the village $3,000. We are spending $3,000
Yeah.
of taxpayer
Yeah,
funds.
I
Yeah.
I get that. And that's how we paid it in the past.
yes.
Yes.
But a different parade, we have the contract line, we'll see expenses and revenue. It'll be called like a contract fee and they'll actually be paid separately to go and do the parade or the event.
So you're just shifting it from,
No, so.
No, so sorry,
just not clear
so saying at the loss,
versus how we were paying.
If we pay out of the contract line, the village fronts the money and then we get reimbursed.
because the event's paying for the service. So in this case, in the past for alumni, we hired 10 officers, they go and work, they submit a timesheet, and they get paid as if it was a normal day of working through our normal operating line. For somewhere where they reach out to the police department and hire someone, we charge them. We'll pay them a contract fee and then we'll send them a bill. And then they'll send that bill back to us as revenue and those two things will offset. So that's why on your financial report, you have a revenue line that says contract and an expense line that says contract. And that's where the money comes out of, that where the money goes.
What's the contract rate?
75 an hour for minimum 4 hours.
And then what's the rate that you are charging that?
That's what we charge.
Okay, so it doesn't matter whether it's one of these 4 groups or if it's Macy's comes to town and wants to do a parade.
I think the difference is you're charging versus not charging.
Yes.
Yeah, the only one we haven't charged for in the past, and with these events being community events that are not really fundraisers, it's a lot of money to spring on someone, so I don't want to just spring it on them out of the blue. I don't want to bring it up. So we can have a.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a today thing, but.
Well, I think it's a future discussion.
I think it's a future.
Yeah, that's a big change.
Yeah, but the point is, we are paying, the taxpayers pay $3,000 or the pure group that's putting on the parade, in this case, the alumni group would pay $3,000.
Right.
Somebody has to pay for the police.
We
Right.
do, I mean, offer,
When it's something that benefits the community like this, maybe we could even consider splitting it.
So this might be a conversation
Yeah.
and another policy ordinance that the
Okay.
trustees passed that kind of lay out what those rules would be and where the split would be in the future.
and for
Okay.
this year, for the parades, we'll
I think that's a great
continue to
idea.
just
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
is, we don't have to just spring a huge cost on.
Absolutely.
But I think this is a good idea. Anytime someone comes in front of us
Dennis,
for a
bring your
parade.
checkbook.
No, I think when people come up for a parade, we should tell them that we are considering this change for next year, so that
Okay.
at least they're aware of it.
For the big ones.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Joe. Are there any, community questions? Or anybody on Zoom? Do you see anybody on?
Nothing on Zoom now.
Okay. Sorry, I did this backwards. In that case, I'd make a motion to approve the parade permit, for June 15th from 2 to 3. Is there a second?
Second.
Jeffrey seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Next, we're gonna keep you up here and, let's do the Alumni Day. Which is the same day. On your paper here. Okay, tell us about Alumni Day.
Well, but basically that's it. The things start happening as far as, floats lining up and the vendors coming in, clowns and so on. They start arriving 12:30. Now this, and people start entering the park, the green. I would say about 1 o'clock or so. Bring their lawn chairs and so on. And it empties out the park. When the parade is over, things quiet down. We pick up our things. Bob climbs down out of the tower and we're out. The park is empty at 4.
Is the hot dog roller new this year?
Yeah, that's not an Alumni Day, though.
It's on the,
It's on your,
it's on the permit for Alumni Day, yeah.
Well, it's not happening Alumni Day.
Okay.
There is, we have a concession. That's an annual thing. We have a
Yep.
concession tent for, on the green. But that's, where there's hot dogs and soda and chips.
but that's not Alumni Day?
Yeah, that's alumni, but that's not, I thought the dog thing is something that's separate. It's in the summer.
There's 2 separate ones.
Yeah.
One's on June 15th and the
Yeah.
other one is May to September.
So, but that's not on,
But will you be selling hot dogs and such?
yeah,
Not Alumni, okay, so there will be a hot dog roller on Alumni Day.
1 to 3.
but that's not new. That's part of the day. So
Okay,
the junior class and gets involved as, and gets some money towards their senior class, events.
But there are no changes for this permit.
Yep, there's no changes of, last 83 years, really.
okay. Are there any other, following the rules, are there any other technical questions from?
No.
Okay, are there any comments from the community?
Not online.
So I move that we accept the non-parade section of Alumni Day as presented.
Okay, I've got a couple more questions, or a couple of questions. With the concessions, so you've got the hot dog roller, what else will you?
Oh, there's a cheeseburger, hamburger, cheeseburger,
Okay,
chips, soda, water.
so you'll have a grill as well?
Huh?
Will you have a grill?
Yeah, it's a propane grill, yes.
And how many tents? Got 1, 2, 3, 4 tents?
Yeah, there are several tents that we put up, but they're only there for sun or rain.
Okay,
That little extra thing.
okay,
They hand out newsletters for, to anybody who wants one and the people that are naturally are old.
Yep.
So they need to sit down and they need no sun and no rain.
okay. Joe, do you have any? input on that? Okay. And because since there's already officers there for the parade, that'll help with people going across crosswalks. Proceed.
Motion stands just for the non-parade part. That's on the village.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. 2 down, 1 to go.
Yeah.
Next, dogs in the park.
That is something new, and had an idea that Sunday and Monday is kind of quiet for people, tourists, or especially finding a place to get a lunchtime snack. And we just thought maybe it would be worth a try to have something very simple on a table in the green, where it was the hot dog and chopped onions, soda. Diet soda, Coke, and water, and a little bag of chips, and that would be it. And if it didn't pan out, it's a fundraiser for the alumni. And if you don't already know that anything that the alumni brings in goes totally for the parade and senior scholarships. I mean, it's all given back to one way or another. So we hope that, maybe, especially on Sunday when it's really quiet, like some places, that might be worth the try.
So Sundays and Mondays
Yeah,
from 11 to 3.
and like 11 to 3. It might, if the weather wasn't right, it just wouldn't happen, but we wanted permission to let it happen. A few folks were,
It'd be 1:10. Right?
yeah, well, what's that?
1:10, one,
Yeah, oh, yeah, no tent, no tent.
no tent?
Yeah, because if the weather is
Okay.
lousy, it
You
just won't happen.
Okay,
Just who's the one that's probably gonna be doing it. So I make that decision. And it's right near that, with the old Christmas tree. It's right in that area. Cause that's where there's power
Oh, you need to.
for the hot dog roller. So
Are there any other technical questions from the board?
Just that this is approved, it'll be approved under the current ordinance for the green.
Well, that was something I wanted to bring up in the discussion part. Are there any comments from the public on this item? Beth? Beth, go ahead. You're muted.
I just wanted to let Dennis know that there's plenty of power on the shed if he didn't want to be near the memory tree.
thank you.
And the chamber pays for it.
Okay.
So I've got a couple of sort of questions and comments. So, one thing that I like to keep in mind is that there are already, so this is one, it's a permit to use the green. So one comment is that we already have some things that will be happening on the green on some Sundays, not Mondays, I don't think, but we've got some things that are gonna be going on Sundays. I can think of Bookstock and I can think of Pride. So anything that happens there has to be, then either you would skip that Sunday or you talk to the organizers of those events to see, because we've already given those permits. The second thing is, and this is gonna be later down on our agenda, but later down on our agenda, we're going to be, voting on the Village Green Parks and Public Places ordinances, and in that ordinance, if it passes, so if in 30 minutes it passes, then one of those is that since we know now that the village owns the Gore, which is the land in front of the library, we were gonna put any nonprofits there because it is an easier space and it is the way that we have it in our ordinance, it will be much cheaper. And it is a place just for nonprofits. So I don't know if anybody if we want to wait until we presumably pass or vote on that ordinance, because
that ordinance says that we can't have nonprofit food on the green? I don't remember.
we, in the ordinance, which should be in your packet, we are recommending that it's just nonprofits that are on the Gore. It doesn't mean that they can't be on the green, but it's more expensive to be on the green. Because we changed the price, and we
Changed the pricing,
specifically
right.
kept it,
Right, yeah, but they're not banned from being. on the
they're
green.
not, it's just, if they want to spend $150, that's fine. It would just be cheaper. So if you want to hang out, because we also have somebody that has an application for the Gore on a different day, and we were gonna move that afterwards.
Or
because
approve it.
we were gonna-
Either way.
Yes.
So I have 2 points. One is I'm not sure if there is power at the Gore or not.
Yeah, I was gonna.
So that's gonna be a question because I
Okay.
don't think there is. And Beth, if I'm
Okay.
wrong, let me know, but I don't think there's a outlet there. Second, they're applying right now under the current.
That's
So
true.
if
Okay.
it was approved tonight, it would fall under the current regulations, not the new ones.
Oh, because it needs, what, 60 days?
60 days.
Okay,
And
my apologies.
There, you can only vote for what we have in front of you. So this would kind of always be grandfathered in,
Okay,
just like anything else that we gave a permit to already until the ordinance is in effect.
okay, thank you. And 60 days?
60 days, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I stand corrected. Don't listen to me. Okay. So are there any other public comments on this application? Okay. Trustees, any other questions or comments?
No.
I just think that it's great because those days we are in such great shortage of food service.
I noticed that. That's,
That's great to have you there. We will need more than that, but those 2 days are key. So,
The other thing to remember then, if we're under the current ordinance, is that it requires a certificate of insurance for each one of those days. So we'll need a certificate of insurance for each day that you're set up.
I think I assume that the insurance is coming is covered for the whole year. I mean, I asked for that.
Okay.
But if it doesn't, make sure you, by all means, give me a call or let me know if it doesn't suit what it's supposed to.
And you knew what you did with the butcher shop last year where you approved kind of
Conditional.
every Thursday, or whatever, I think it was Thursdays, he was out there with the grill, so you can do the same thing where you approve it every Sunday, Monday, for the time frame.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think certainly the one application. Okay, so any other questions, comments? Okay, so I would make a motion that we approve the Alumni Association to sell hot dogs, chips, soda, etc., every Sunday and Monday from May through September, on the green, with, assuming that we get the certificate of insurance in and that, you're talking to, or we can have somebody reach out to you from the people that are already set up on a couple of those Sundays. And we-
Especially if they have food, by all means, let them have it.
Okay,
This was just, if there wasn't a way to get a snack at lunchtime or in the middle of the afternoon, if there's already something there, we'd back off.
okay,
this is
Plan.
we'll let you know about that.
one question. If this is successful, would you consider going a couple of weeks further instead of ending
Yeah, it was
September?
just-
I mean, the first couple of weeks of October are pretty darn busy.
Trust me, the alumni needs money, so if it's working, somebody will be there, yeah.
Right, so in which case we'd have to alter that unless you're altering it tonight to say
Yeah.
mid-October.
Well, I think last year we kind of had a pretty big outreach if we want to do that, so we might want to wait and have a separate vote for a foliage when we know how many nonprofits want to be involved. So we give everyone a fair shot.
Okay.
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 This is great.
Yep.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next item is the Veterans Day Parade and Memorial Day Parade from the American Legion. Is there somebody from the American Legion? Is there anybody online, Eric?
I don't see anyone.
Okay, well, I would suggest we table this until next month. Nikki can call and make sure that somebody shows up next month.
Yep.
Are we okay with tabling it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Nikki, can you please let them know?
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you. Okay. Then, the next item on the agenda is the plant sale from the Woodstock Garden Club.
Hi. Phillips, I'm the co-chair for the plant sale. The Woodstock Garden Club's hosting their 30th annual this year. We're asking your permission to have it on the Gore, I didn't realize it had a name, in front of the library, as we have in the past. We'll have tents, pop-up tents, tables, plant material, a country kitchen, which is hot dog roller. There is power there. Friday is the set. Friday is the setup, 8:30 to 10:30. Saturday is May 25th is the actual plant sale, 8 to 1. We have very little police. We do ask the police to just do a couple drive-bys Friday just to keep tabs Friday night because the plant material is set up, but it's a very low, couple hundred people, full profile. I'm trying to think what else I can cover. Just that's our request.
Okay, and with the parking spaces out front, are you gonna request or
In
Are
the
you-
past, they've just put 4 cones. The police department kindly gives us 4 cones, and it's just a place for people for us to drop off, set up and pick up once we sell things. It just makes it easier. Last year, someone parked right in the middle, and it was just an inconvenience. It wasn't anything more than that. Only a few hours, each one.
For all 4 of those parking spaces,
Correct.
except for the handicap, presumably.
Oh, yes.
Curious, where is the power?
The power is on the walk, as you're looking at the library, on the walkway to the right. We found this out only because something tripped or some major fuse. I don't know anything about electrical, but something happened last year and we were midway through our hot dog rolling. We're asked to give them all away or we sold them to someone because we weren't able to heat them any longer. We lost power. We've been informed that it's been repaired.
So there's a receptacle of some sort in the
Mhm,
walkway?
mhm.
Oh,
And is that, whose power is that? Is that,
Libraries. I'm thinking, Jen, would you know whose power that is, power source? We don't know. I could find out.
okay, somebody's paying for it. The people paying the bill.
Bill, yeah, exactly.
Okay. Are there any other technical questions?
Just one technical, just, trustees in the past have not allowed anything to be on the gore. You'll vote tonight to create an ordinance that will cover the gore as well. That ordinance won't be in effect until 60 days to give people the chance to object to it. So if you do approve it, it'll be on the condition that the gore ordinance does pass and come into effect on May 2nd.
Thank you. Are there any citizen comments in the room or online?
I don't see anything online.
Okay.
I make a motion to accept the Garden Club proposal for a plant sale on May 25th as presented.
8 to 1, right?
9 to 1. 9 to 1. Well,
8.
8 to 1, it says 9. I'll change it. It's 9.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you
Thanks for
so
your
much. And thank you for your patience
Thank
as we figure this all out. Okay, next item up is the vote on the Village Green Parks Public Places Ordinance.
If I could interrupt for 1 second.
Yeah.
Just occurred to me that this will be Gabe's last meeting on the board. The next time we meet, we'll have a reorg and it'll no longer be him. So I just want to thank Gabe for his service over the last couple of years, his support that he gave me, and sure the rest of you feel similar, but before we forget, I just want to acknowledge it. So thank you. Best of luck.
Yeah, this is last like full meeting.
He'll be here to call it in order, then he'll be kicked to the curb.
It will be.
So thank you.
But he'll be around for Pride. So the Village Green, the Gore Parks and Public Places in your packet. So as a reminder, this started off with wanting to streamline what we're doing with the green and then with the addition of the Gore, because we discovered about a year ago that the village owns it. We wanted to figure out what rules we wanted for that. So we started off by having a conversation. I took all of that and updated the green ordinance. You all made some suggestions for changes. I went back, changed that. After we approved that, Eric sent it off to the lawyers, who then just changed really just a couple of words. And then what they did was, instead of having a separate section for the green and the Gore, they sort of put it all into one and then just pulled out little pieces that were a little different for the Gore. So this is the final version. This has been approved by the lawyers.
Yep.
So this has gone through us multiple times. This has gone through public discussions a couple of times. We have obviously also consulted the Garden Club. They were the main group that we talked to about the Gore, since they use it so much. So we really did get a lot of input from them. I think the big changes are, one, that we're using the Gore. Two is that we have added for the, green, allowing private events, explicitly allowing for private events. And if you look on, chapter 2 in that section, for permits for private events, we are now going to charge a fee to actually use the green. That's not something that we've done in the past, but, if it's going to be private groups, that could be a wedding reception, that could be, I don't know, somebody having a private party, those sorts of things, we decided that it makes sense that we're charging for that. Of course, the green will always be open, much like East End Park, when somebody uses it, it has to be open to the public. So whether there's a private party there or not, you can still walk your dog through the park. This remains a public space. So we've got for 5 to 25 people, $150, 26 to 50, 300, 50 to 75 people is $450, and 75 to 100 people is $550. And then that also means we've also added a security deposit of, I believe, it is, we say 150?
Yes.
So this is a new piece for us. Again, just the green, not the gore. We've added this 150 security deposit, which is 100% returnable, assuming that the green is in good shape after people leave it. This was something that got added in because in the past few years, there has been an uptick in trash. Some of that is just inevitable when we have a lot of people, but some of it is event driven. And so we want to make sure that if we have to pay Casella to come in, or if we have to pay some of our public works people to come in, then we are covered and we're not losing money. The other thing that we've added is a non-refundable processing fee. In the past, we've refunded processing fees, but we're making this something that is non-refundable. Again, the reason for that is recognizing that it takes time and energy, and it takes man hours or woman hours. And so we're acknowledging that that costs money for the town. So this is not an attempt to make money. This is an attempt not to lose money. It's really the same with the security deposit, because we don't want to lose money or spend taxpayer dollars on someone else's trash. So those are the big things. As I said earlier, with the gore, we decided during public discussions and as trustees that we wanted the gore to remain a spot that was just for Woodstock area nonprofits, because that is a much smaller space. It's a more intimate space. And we are only charging a $25 fee for that. We want to make sure that it is affordable for nonprofits to be there. And because most of our nonprofits tend to be smaller things, hot dogs, plant sales, things like that, they're not going to take up as much space. But then have bigger events, your book stocks or Pride, obviously that's a big thing. And even if it's nonprofit, it is still a big, expensive thing. So that's why we made sort of those decisions. Trustees, do you have any technical questions before I open this up to the community? No. Okay. Anybody online or in the room? Jill?
As you were talking about trash, did you include the recycling guidelines?
The recycling guidelines are in there, and that will be part of the enforcement, because in the past we have not been enforcing that. And that will be part of that $150 security deposit. So if people aren't doing that, that's part of it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it will be also up to us. We're going to have to redo our permit applications, of course. And so that will be part of the process of laying out exactly what people need to be doing, and making sure when we approve permits that people know what they need to be doing. So on our side, on the municipality side, we will do a better job at educating and communicating on that as well. Any other questions or concerns from the community? Okay, in that case, I would make.
So before you make a motion, put a few things are clear. So it is 60 days from today if the vote passes, before anything will go into effect. That also means the permits as they are will be the same for the next 60 days. And no changes will be made until May 10th, which I believe is the 60th day. I think I said May 2nd before, but it's May 10th. So just so we're clear, if permits that come up between now and then will be the old permits and the old structure. And the board will have a chance to maybe delay those approvals till after May 10th if you want, or approve them ahead of time, but there will be 60 days where you're going to have a few awkward conversations.
Thank you. Okay, then I would make a motion to approve the updated Title IX, Village Green, the Gore Parks and Public Places Ordinance. For a second? Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Good job, guys.
And so Nikki will send this around for signature. So just check your email.
Okay. And after we get it signed, can we post it in the listserv? Hey, Joe? If you have, thanks. Can we post it in the listserv and just to let people know that these are updated ordinances and that it'll.
60 days from now.
60 days. Well,
That's what will take effect. Yeah.
yeah, and give people a heads up.
Yeah, I think it might be better maybe if we create like a one pager.
Okay.
Just because I don't know if everyone's gonna go through and read the whole ordinance.
Not.
Yeah. So maybe we work on a one page that can go up and kind
Okay.
of give people brief information and keep that maybe on our website as well, so people can see quickly what it is without having to go through. And that'll probably save Nikki time in the back end if people ask questions.
And I'm sure the
Yeah.
Standard would love to do an article on it.
Well, I have to create mandatorily one pager for the Standard anyways. There is certain language I have to do.
Okay.
I can use that.
Okay.
Thank you, Nikki.
And then we need to create new permits, but that's something you
We-
and Nikki can work
We
on.
have, and we have 60 days to do it.
Okay. Okay. Moving on, next item up is we're moving on to the discussion time. So we won't be having any more votes, or we don't have no more planned votes today. The rest of these items are just discussions. So the first discussion is about the agenda policy. Eric?
Yep. So a few months ago, the select board and the trustees voted to put in place some policies and procedures when it comes to agenda planning. You have that in your booklet. We kind of tentatively agreed to start in April after both boards had been reorged and the elections were over and town meeting was over. So nothing has changed obviously since the vote. We will post this on the listserv, on Facebook, everywhere we can. But the main thing I want to say out loud is this only works if we stick to it. So what's going to happen is the first point of contact will be Nikki and myself, and we'll be the ones who are saying, are you following this policy? And if they say no, we're going to say, sorry, you can't be on the agenda. So then when they go to the next step and go talk to a trustee or select board member and saying, hey, neighbor, we have to make sure we're kind of all a unified front or this is not going to work. So I'm just reminding both boards about this, and also, going through when the agenda is locked, when things can be added, asking questions about the agenda ahead of time so we can give you educated answers in the meetings about it. And then hold us accountable for the things as well. You'll see that we added posting on a listserv and on the website. So we're trying to get out there as much as we can. We have typically done Facebook, websites, occasionally listserv, also a Substack. So now we're trying to hit everything we have to get the word out as quickly as possible.
Can you bring this up on the screen? Everybody else can see it.
Yes. Let me give me just 1 minute.
Save Nikki a step.
Just for the wait.
Want me to bring it up?
I have it right now. Okay. Let's try to find it. So see, 15 days before the meeting, the chair will ask members to submit agenda items. 14 days, the chair and myself will meet to kind of create the first draft. The chair will then send that draft to the rest of the board. 11 days before the meeting is the last day to kind of add anything to the agenda, including permits and applications. 10 days, we consider the agenda locked, which means no more changes, no more additions. 7 days before the meeting, everything will be sent in to us so we can include it in the packet. 4 days before the meeting, which is typically the Friday before the Tuesday meeting. Everything we sent out to the board members and posted and everywhere we can do it. 36 hours for the meeting, that's when we ask questions to be sent to myself and or Robin in finance to kind of make sure we can give you the answers you want if you have anything. Day of the meeting, adding agenda items should only be emergencies or brief updates. I think like Jeffrey did today, that's a perfect example of that. And then 3 days afterwards, we'll post the Zoom and then the minutes 5 days afterwards. The only time this won't be followed is if we need to do a special meeting or emergency meeting. Then obviously we're not gonna, it can't be emergency if we have 16 days to plan for it. But this is for standard meetings we have. Planning and zoning is gonna work off this as well to try to adapt it to their special meetings as well. So hopefully they'll have something soon for their commissions as well.
Trustees?
Wasn't this posted afterwards on Facebook page as well as?
Facebook, our website, Substack, the listserv, and the goal is actually have it linked on our website. So we have a page for agendas. I think the first thing says that all agendas are kind of in the calendar. The next sentence will have this as a link so people can see it right there as well. So before you see any of the agendas, you'll see this first.
And maybe even the permit pages?
Yeah, and that's where we'll have the permit one page or two.
Okay, so that when people go to a permit, they'll be like, oh, what need to do?
Yeah.
This strikes me as ideal, but not, but also exceedingly strict in some senses.
Yes.
There are some occasions where people have brought permits or needed a permit.
I mean, currently, I think the permit says 30 days before the event, and we haven't been following that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And
Before the event.
Yeah.
Stuff, yes, but this says before the meeting.
So I mean, I would say 16 days before an event is actually better than 30 days. Because right now, technically, if you go for a permit in the green, you're supposed to submit to the trustees 30 days before the event. And we have not been following that at all.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of this is on our part, and I've talked to Eric about this, is educating ourselves and educating the public. And so one of the things that occurred to me today is maybe this is something that we send out to anybody who's requested a permit in the past year. Because that's a good indication of people who will be requesting a permit in the future. So that might be a good way to start it off, just so that the people that we know are gonna apply, they are aware of what's happening.
Yeah, we can try to pull information. I'm not sure if we have all the emails, but we try our best to see what we can do.
And then maybe Beth could share this with all the businesses, because that's another big group. And any other ideas that there are about how we get this information out.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For the board itself. And at meetings such as tonight, so you give your report and I have a question on it. You're saying I should just do that privately in advance. It sounds like.
Well, I think some of the financial questions, I can't get the answer to you right away. So if there's some,
That's fine. But
Yeah.
some of the questions are for the public. to
oh, no, those are fine. This means like a specific agenda or a question that ahead of time that we can provide you the answer for. So you're more informed, we're more informed. Nothing that has to do with, we breaking the open meeting law if we discuss things, like privately like that. So anything public, that's totally fine. It's more like, hey, Eric, why is the admin salary 99% over? I could actually go down and say, we paid Robbie Bush X amount of dollars. Give it to you.
More detail. But
Yeah.
He's saying that publicly, that's not a
Yeah, I
problem.
don't think it prohibits you from saying things that the public know.
Okay, so if they still have questions, I can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, no, and if it doesn't stop you.
Yeah, this is
The meeting, I understand.
This is not a dictatorship where I'm gonna say no questions at all in the meeting. It's just so, there's been times in the past where there's been a question by a board member that I couldn't answer in the moment, then I have to go back. And then I email the question and then the public can't get the answer because it's between, you and me. This way, if you ask that question, I can get the answer ahead to you. Then you can bring it up in the meeting and say, the answer is X or Y. It's just so we can make sure we have the answers for the public and for everyone.
Good.
Trustees, any other questions about that or concerns? Public, do you have any questions about it? Y'all are the ones asking for permits. Okay. And the select board is gonna use this same format.
Yes,
Okay, so it will be no matter who you're asking a permit for or agenda item,
it's gonna be the same process.
be the
yes.
same process. Okay, and then this will be the same for planning and zoning.
No, they're gonna use this to make their own, because they have,
Okay.
like, for example, they don't have, committee members add agenda items.
Okay.
Like we do, they go off what people have submitted from the public for permanent zoning and stuff like that. So they'll make a few changes. And probably just a timeline as well, because they have, some of them meet bi-monthly, some meet once a month, some only meet when they have meetings. So it's a little more different for them, so they'll make a more specific one themselves.
I like it. Anything else? This topic? Joe, you look thrilled. Okay, so next item on the agenda is Mark has an update on the ARPA votes. You were going to give us,
I'm gonna update, Mark couldn't make it today. They obviously worked through the weekend, and they're gonna be back out again early tomorrow morning.
snowing again?
No, to remove some snow,
Oh, okay,
so
so-
if nothing has melted. So let me show you my screen one more time. Yeah, this is gonna be small.
And can you let us know why we are a little bit more urgent about
Yes.
designating the ARPA funds?
So every municipality that receive ARPA funds has to do a yearly submission to the Treasury Department. The next one is due by the end of April. The guidance from VLCT is that all municipalities should try to allocate all their ARPA funds by March 30th. So you include all those allocations in the April submission. Because again, they've expressed concerns, depending on who wins the general election in November, that one of their actions may be try to take unallocated ARPA funds away from municipalities and bring it back to the federal government. So by having everything in the portal by end of April, we're telling the federal government that all our funds are allocated, so there's nothing for them to potentially take back. Where in the sense of, if we don't allocate some funds and we allocate them in, say, September or October, there won't be a record of that until the following April. So if they came in, try to make rash decisions, we could then be in a fight saying, no, we allocated the money and then try to improve its spent. So this is a safeguard from VLCT. I recommend that we kind of allocate the money as quickly as possible. So with that in mind, as you'll see on this very small, I'll make it bigger for the board. The total amount the village received, they allocated $97,445,000 to do the deficit shortfall from the current fiscal year. They voted $20,000 for the College Hill Road retaining wall. You also allocated $50,000 last year for sidewalk paving. If you remember, you allocated that money at the same time the trust gave money to the trustees that had to be sent by June 30th. So Mark used that money, and then the flood happened and no more paving got done for the rest of the year. With that said, Mark Hunter, our DPW director, recommended 2 projects for the ARPA funds, which would get us to zero balance. One is to pave High Street. He suspects it'll cost around $55,000. And then the rest of the money, which is $34,033.53, to fix the footbridges behind the Welcome Center on Vale Field. He's concerned about both of those qualities. That's what we came up within the last 2 weeks for the village. And we will have at least 1 or 2 more joint meetings before end of March. So I think we can vote on them then if you want. But I just want to give Mark recommendations, how the conversation going, so we can take a vote ideally before the end of March.
And what on High Street?
To pave High Streets.
Okay,
Yeah, those are all really good and important recommendations.
The footbridges may be more than that money, but that's the rest of the money we had, and we can find the rest of the money in the operating budget if we need to.
and is that total replacement of both footbridges?
It would be, or he thought about around 40,000 for both of them combined.
Not total.
That was my question. Is it a replacement or a repair?
I believe it's a replacement.
Okay,
Oh, it is.
I believe so, yes.
Complete replacement? of the-
Yeah, he's-
crossing the kitchen?
I don't want to, I'm 99% sure, Mark can't be here, but he's very concerned with the quality of both of them.
Oh, Interesting.
But I can have an answer for you before a vote happens.
What sections of High Street is it? Is it the entire thing?
He said the entire thing, yes.
Okay.
Hence the $55,000.
Certainly needs it. Trustees, do you have any questions?
That's great.
Public, do you have any comment about that?
I see none online.
Nothing online? Okay, so then we'll vote on it next month to allocate, or would you like to?
I think I'll maybe put it on the back end of the short-term rental conversation.
Would you like us to vote on it? Does anybody feel like they're ready to vote on it today, or do you want?
Vote on today.
I
No,
vote on
sir.
that.
I don't see the reason to wait.
Okay, does anybody need any more? Bill, do you need any more information? Gabe, do you need any more information? Okay, in that case, I would make a motion.
So I just ask if you do two separate motions, just so we
Yes.
have, okay, perfect. So
I would make first motion to allocate 55, where's the number?
$1,000.
$55,000 to pave High Street. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is I make a motion to allocate $34,000 for the remainder of the ARPA funds.
So $34,033.53.
Okay, $34,000, 33.
$34,033.
$34,033. What he said, from the ARPA funds to replace or repair the footbridges, near the Welcome Center, Mechanic Street and Vale. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Money has been allocated. Thank you for that. Okay, next item on the agenda, Indian food truck. Got someone here to speak about it. Come on up. Give us your name and where you're from and what you're here for.
Good evening. My name is Parminder and we live in White River Junction. And we were requesting a spot on the green for Indian food truck over the periods of May to October. Preferably like a couple of days a week. We're open to we're flexible with the availability.
Okay.
Depending on what you guys have available, and we were thinking around 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. as our times. Our food truck is currently being built and stuff, so we're getting permits through the state and all of that. And there's a separate permit that you guys would want from the town for us that we could also do that. Obviously we would have insurance and everything for the truck also. And it would be Indian food, so kind of like samosas, curries, naan, some other appetizers. We can provide a full menu once we have all of that decided and printed out. Like we were saying, I'm from White River Junction. I grew up here. I went to Hartford High School. I went to UVM for my undergrad. I'm currently doing my mechanical engineering master's there, and I'll be finishing up in May. And my parents have been in the food industry for over a decade, and that's my mom that I came with. My mom and my dad will be running the food truck. My dad currently works at the Jewel of India, which is my aunt's restaurant, but he's retiring, so he wants to kind of do a smaller type of from a full-on restaurant job because it's a very long hours. So he's kind of just trying to get into a food truck that he can do because he doesn't really want to be home after he retires the entire time. And my mom's gonna join him on the adventure. So yeah. We think that Woodstock would be a really good place because it would provide some diverse food options for obviously the tourists and also attract other people and hopefully bring more business to the town itself and the local shops. Also, yeah. I don't know if you have any other questions.
So just for a point of clarification, the trustees really don't have any rules or permits or ordinances for food trucks. If a food truck's gonna be somewhere on like a private property, they usually have to go through a plan and zoning office. What they're suggesting, I think, is to kind of be by a parking spot by the green potentially.
Yeah.
That would not go to planning and zoning because it's not a private property, so it's kind of a very big gray area. That's why we have it for discussion, not necessarily a vote, because we kind of have to decide if you guys like the idea, then how do we actually make sure we're doing this in an appropriate way, or if, so that's kind of just a background of where we're at, in a gray area where we have nothing really to fall back on.
We've had food trucks.
Yeah.
At the green.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not as if that hasn't existed.
Yep.
We had ice cream truck. Yeah, and actually, on occasions, we've had food trucks too.
Yeah.
But Sunday, Monday, again, meeting a critical need in this village, and this looks to me like an opportunity. I think it's a terrific idea.
I think we could actually use it more than just 2 days a week.
Well,
I'm retiring.
No, they wanna kind of still do it 5 days a week.
At some point.
Like,
Only if you tell me you're gonna have chicken McCarty and you also are gonna have some lentils.
No, for sure, they're gonna
My
have
vote.
masala.
Should we do the conflict of interest policy now or later?
chicken tikka masala. I'll take it.
You have some hungry people.
Yeah, right.
For Indian.
So in the past, the objections have been from some people who live around the green.
Well,
Yes.
and I guess also remember, so to clarify, Eric, what you said, we don't really have a rule about this. So like,
No.
No, there's one rule about, I gotta find the wording, but it's basically like a retail setup, a retail booth that doesn't really say anything. It doesn't reference all about a food truck. It's very vague on what it means. I think it's more like someone set up a retail stall on the green without a permit. I think that's where it kind of falls in under.
but yeah,
Let me pull it up as we're talking.
Is that with the vehicle that you're anticipating building, you don't have it?
Yeah, we're currently in the process, so it'll just be like a UPS, basically that size truck. Kind
So
of.
it would fit within one parking lot?
Yeah.
And would have its own power?
We would have a generator, but if there is a possible outlet, that would be helpful.
That's a conversation with the planning and zoning, but because it wasn't
Oh.
their plan and zoning said basically because it wasn't prior property, it wouldn't fall under that. The thing.
We approved it straightforward. Yeah. Yeah, it's a great idea. If it was a generator, I'd just be worried about the sound.
They're super quiet. They're all very modern generators. Most of the food trucks nowadays, kind of just like the air compressors that we have nowadays, you can get at Home Depot and stuff. It's kind of like those. They're very quiet. They don't really make much noise at all.
and you're an engineer, so you.
The mechanical engineer.
Yeah, I was to say. And so Eric, what would be the, no, you're still looking,
Yep.
but technically, if you pull up in a parking spot and you pay for the parking,
That's the conversation we've been having of, is
Yeah.
there, not that we want to do this, but like, is there any legal way to stop them from doing that if they have a license with the state? And that's where I couldn't find an answer. I still haven't found an answer to that question yet. So it's more so if someone tried to come and say, let's stop it, what guidelines do we have to say you can't stop it? Did you ever in the past with the ice cream truck, did you issue a permit for that?
We
we did a green permit.
remember.
We did it for like,
Some pull onto the green.
Yeah,
the ice cream truck pulled up,
In the parking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, the
you're
ice cream
right.
was in a parking space. There
Parking
was
space.
another one that you used to get food from all the time,
Yeah.
the Jamaican.
Yeah, they,
Yeah, but it was a truck.
it was a truck.
Yeah.
So we've had that before and we didn't do anything special other than to give approval, but I don't remember about the meters.
They had a generator.
Open on the green side for the, fencing, or open without the cross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
North
yeah, yeah.
side,
yeah, north side,
yeah, the north side of the green,
this side.
yes, east.
Yeah.
And
the east end,
there's a break. Not across.
right, and that's where we and that worked out really well.
If somebody needed help getting into it, depending on the configuration of the truck, we would 90% of the time be available.
And you put parking cone in advance of that when we had it last time, I believe. To make sure that space was
I don't
open.
know about 100% of the time.
Yeah, you put a cone there just so it was available.
Yeah.
No, it's a for-profit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what we need to do that's different than in the past, than to,
Well, I don't know that there's a, I don't know that we don't really have a permit. I think the last time we did it was part of like having food on the green. And so we just said, you know, we're only gonna allow food on the green. And so we made that as one of them.
we
But it's
made
not
that,
really
we
on-
made that in addition to the 300.
Yeah.
Or that fruit.
There's not really, there's not really a permit that we can approve. It's just more of a,
We approved their use of the
Yeah.
parking space.
without like having a vote on it, we just go, okay,
Well, yeah, we gave approval.
yes. Even though it's not a vote, it's just a.
There was approval to use a parking space.
Yeah.
Exactly where we wanted them to do. I don't remember if we voted or not,
No.
but you could vote, why not?
We could also wait and we'll do some more research and have a vote again at the joint meeting.
I mean, what would you be looking for? I mean, it seems like that we don't have anything.
Well,
So
I think what I'm looking for is to protect the trustees if someone complains,
Yeah,
they come to us and say, why can they be there? And what can we say to say this is why they can be there? It's not an issue.
Because the community needs more food service. That's why they could be there.
well, but there is no ordinance that says that they cannot.
No,
And I think that's why I want to put in discussion, so we have this discussion without feeling pressure to say yes or no to something immediately.
okay, but let's come down to a decision very soon, I think. Want to hold these people up.
Yeah, so that's the other thing I was gonna mention. We are looking for spaces in Queechee too. We're talking to them also to see if we can be there, but like obviously I think we're trying to see if we could split time. So like if you want us here, we can do like 3 days, like usually.
Okay, so you could do a couple days here and a
Yeah.
couple days at the mall or.
Yeah, we're talking to Queechee,
Okay.
so that's also in process.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Beth?
I just, and I think I sent this to you, Seton, I just am concerned about Wednesdays because of the market.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so they'd be, you know, and I think my suggestion was Thursday through Monday would be great. But
Sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't mean to interrupt. Can I say something?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Beth, are you finished?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just meant to add the market. We're looking forward to actually doing the market. I'm doing an application to submit
Oh, good.
too.
Oh.
So
Okay,
that,
that's Beth. She's the person that's going to
Oh,
your
okay.
application.
Oh, okay, perfect. So actually, that would be even better. We were thinking that we could do it like Wednesday for sure, because we're gonna be here for the market anyways. So it would make sense for us to be here the entire day, if that's okay.
Yeah, I would start with her.
Well, if you get approved by,
Yeah.
you know, by Beth, that. But Mondays were critical.
Okay.
And also when you'd be most, you know, make the best financial sense, I think, for you.
Wendy, Mary, Wendy. Go
Thank-
ahead.
Thank you, Seton. I want to just reflect back to Eric's point that this is in discussion mode, and I do encourage the trustees to slow it down a notch. I was not vocal, but I was witness to a trustee meeting where many residents on the green were unhappy with the ice cream trucks or what happened before, and particularly with the generators. But I think more than that, I think the trustees want to take a step back and think about, what does the green mean? What is the experience for the people coming to Woodstock? And if we invite one food truck, how do we exclude the next one and the next one and the next one? I think a careful thought on where we want to invite food trucks to be would be in order. I'm not opposed to food trucks, and I love Indian food. The question is, it's a different vibe. It's a wonderful but different vibe. Many larger communities have designated area for food trucks. It's like a go-to place. There's picnic tables and 6 to 10 food trucks. I mean, on a bigger scale, but I think I'd like to encourage thoughtfulness on location. I don't think the green is the right spot for food trucks.
So
But
I
I
tend
do
to,
invite, but thank you.
I tend to agree with you, and I would propose that we look at, if it's possible, these parking spaces in front of the Norman Williams Library. Since we do have the gore. There's picnic tables, and it doesn't really interfere much with the residents on the green.
Either one would be,
Yeah.
either one would be.
Not a bad idea.
equally-
No.
Just
equally
a propose.
Equally good location.
Yeah.
Joe, did you have a comment?
Everything. Yeah, same as the green. Better.
Go ahead, Joe. Can you, here, I want to make sure. I mean, we know you're loud.
Everybody's aware, but have spoken to
Eric about it and Steve Bauer, Stuart Matthews and I and Beth was in on one of the conversations today about how to develop Mechanic Street in the parking lot in the back and make it more appealing to visitors and residents alike. You know, that great little place there, Comptoir is doing a great job there. It would be nice if we could kind of let that evolve into something a little bit bigger and wider in that area with their challenges, like, you know, maybe having to move some parking spaces someplace else and what to do about trash. As a matter of fact, I met with a representative from Casellas today about how to handle the trash that's back there right now, consolidate it in one area, put a fence around it, make it more attractive. We've spoken to some of the merchants on Central Street, maybe particularly the lady who had just put in that nice furniture store. And she was very amicable to the idea of having a secondary storefront right there in Mechanic, and, you know, in fact, calling it Mechanic Square, Mechanic Street Square or something like that, or Mechanic Street parking village shopping area or something like that. And one of the things we are considering, and just not to address this lady concern about the homes around the green and how that would affect them. Because I think there's some validity to what she's saying about one of the attractions. I mean, we are a tourist-based economy, and one of the attractions is the green. And the beautiful homes that people spend a lot of money building, maintaining, upgrading. That's part of the attraction of Woodstock. I mean, you go someplace else and the first thing one of the people will say is, it's got a beautiful green. You know, it's just a beautiful town. And I think that's one of the reasons why we get voted so many times as being one of the best looking towns in New England, because of that. So that's what kind of developed this idea with us. So we still need vendors and we still need, you know, more food venues. But what about what we develop in the back where Mechanic Street is? And we could easily market it so that people recognize and understand that it's back there. That might, as a suggestion and as the thought process that we're going on, and just to advise the trustees, that's something we're thinking about. And hopefully getting something there, maybe even this summer, where we get a food truck back there. And have access to additional food. vendors.
Joe, I completely agree with you. I've had that conversation many times with many people. As a matter of fact, I believe I had that conversation this morning.
You had that with me.
Yes, with you this morning. And I think
We had a conversation like that this morning.
and I've had it many times before with others, and I mean, it is such a, that whole Mechanic Street area, and not to take away from this, because I know it's,
Yes,
but
yeah,
because
Really,
your approval is a different story, but longer term, that whole area with Au Comptoir as the anchor on the other end, you can make that a pedestrian thoroughfare and make it what it is in a lot of other places. They took alleyways, they've taken things like that, and
okay,
just,
that's what Stuart and I are working very hard to do.
that is, I
And
believe
we're in
that's the
process of
future.
doing that right now.
That's the future.
Oh, that's all, it's all an interesting idea. I've had that conversation with John Spector, who also.
Yeah, well, John was there with me this
Yeah,
Also
afternoon.
likes that.
We talked about it.
I thought, I didn't,
But tonight, I
Yeah.
think we're talking
Yeah,
about
that's
this separate.
Yes.
I love the idea of shifting it to in front of the library
Yeah, me too.
to allay any
Yes.
complaints about being on the green itself. It's in the exact same location, really, and would have the same traffic.
More.
So why don't we?
Are you,
My perspective, I don't know if you guys have been to Logan Green, but they have food trucks around their
Yeah.
green. It's a really nice atmosphere.
which one? Lebanon? Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
It worked really well from there. I've
Yeah.
heard, talked to a lot of the vendors there and they have it's kind of like a community where you can like grab food, like do a picnic on the grass, green and stuff.
if they're in front of the library, was that gonna hurt buses that come in to drop off, especially as we gear up?
Oh, the buses that don't tell us when they're coming?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I throw that out there.
Do you want to take a vote now?
Um,
I have a question. Is an issue a long time ago about the food coming on the non-Sunday Monday days that were objected to by the local restaurant? Taking food opportunities away from them. Is that issue come and go
well, I think
on?
we're talking about like Sundays and Mondays.
Yeah, okay, well, that's okay, but it was one point where it was just nonprofits. Now, this would be, you're a for-profit organization, right? This is not,
Yeah.
Yeah,
this is
well,
right.
last year we opened
Okay.
it up to for profits.
Okay, so make sure,
Profit.
all right, just make sure that was.
Yeah.
Thank
I think our next steps, Eric, are what?
I can look into the legality of this a little bit more if the trustees want to make sure we're fully safe. I looked at this twice already. I haven't found anything in the last 10 minutes. But if the trustees want me to seek legal advice, I can. If you want to vote on it and go,
Let's make it easier to accomplish what we want.
yeah, perfect.
Yeah, and I think that in front of the library, Jeffrey, because that does move away from the houses.
Yeah.
We know that's a concern.
Okay, let's say tentatively. How about if we tentatively say that.
Sunday through, well, she has to talk to Beth about Wednesdays, but
All right, well,
That's a separate issue. Wednesdays has to do with that.
Yeah, they'll be on there.
So Thursday through Monday,
or Sunday through.
any
Tuesday.
day other than Wednesday.
What were you looking for?
What are you
Well,
looking
you'll
for
see.
exactly?
I think, and like, we don't have anything solidified with Beachy yet, so I think I don't want to give you like a solidified answer, but like preferably like 3 to 4 days, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that because we know that Sundays and Mondays are particularly difficult in Woodstock, that like a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday,
Well, if she
Okay.
wants, yeah, she wants.
what?
Sunday, that's.
Yeah, but even, I mean, we know that it's.
Well, what if we did Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday? That would give you 4 days.
Who else can probably be here Wednesday as well, pending the chamber.
But that wouldn't be a food truck setup on Wednesday. It would be on the green with everybody else. Is that correct?
No, I think I heard she's gonna, I think you're gonna have a food truck in the morning and then the market in the afternoon.
Okay, so then you would be on the green participating in the market on Wednesday afternoon, so the food truck would not be there.
In the afternoon,
In
but
the
they're in the
afternoon on
morning.
Wednesday.
The food market's on the green, right? Itself.
Right, right,
We
right.
could also just stay in our spot. Cause since
No,
you guys were
right,
saying
so
that.
she's talking about, you're talking about applying for Wednesdays with the truck, as part of market.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's
so
up to, that's up to Beth.
I mean,
That's a
I'm
better question.
more comfortable starting with 6, a tentative, we look into other things, like a Sunday through Tuesday. That gives you 3 days that you're looking for. I think those are the 3 days that make most sense for us where we need things. And then Wednesday, you talk to Beth about it.
Yeah, that sounds
Well,
good.
if they're renting a parking spot.
Well, I mean, yes, and that's the other thing, you gotta pay the parking spot.
Well, okay, all right, but if they're renting a parking spot on Wednesdays, how does that work with Beth?
I think we start with Sunday through Tuesday
Yeah.
and then let her.
Yeah, so I think that
manage
the
that.
trustees would approve them being here Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. The Wednesday will be a conversation with Beth, and then the trustees can have a larger conversation if they want them there Wednesday morning as well.
That makes sense, Beth?
Yeah. I
Does
think
that make sense?
Yeah, that seems like a little more difficult conversation, but, you know, we do have a whole community committee to deal with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Wendy, did you have another comment? Or is your hand just still up?
No, thank you, Seton. I did have another comment. I still, I still would like to strongly suggest that the location being near the green, even though the idea being across the street has lightened your perception, there's still residents next to the library. There's still the activity of the library. There's a lot of after school student activity, pickups, children, families, a lot of coming and going right in that spot in front of the library. I love the idea of the Mechanic Street as a future brainstorm. In the short term, would you also not consider East End Park?
No,
It's just too far away from the shops and not enough traffic at the
Well,
moment.
no, not for the, I'm sorry, East End Park for the current application, for the short-term solution for the Indian food truck as a new endeavor.
I think it's far away.
It's too far away. As a business person, I don't think you'd want to be there just yet. Yeah. There's no foot traffic there.
And that actually does have a whole permit thing. There are actually rules for food trucks at East End Park, so that would be a different permit.
Right. I think it solves the problem of impacting residential experience and visitor experience. That it's just a different vibe. So I repeat, you heard my point, but thank you for that.
Okay, so we're looking at, right now, where we are in the discussion is a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We don't think there needs to be an actual permit. Eric's gonna double check with their
Yep.
lawyers and make sure that it's all, that's all okay.
What? Does he need to do that?
I will do what the trustees asked me to do. For me, I know Woodstock pretty well at this point, and if someone does complain, it's always nice to have something to fall back on besides just they can park in the space and serve food. I just want to make sure we have something. And
What would you do?
that someone else can pull up in the car and open up the trunk and sell food out of the trunk next to them. You know, like I just want to make sure we.
That's why we specifically need to have, that's why it should be a vote that it's specific to a particular spot, chosen in this particular place,
What is the peddlers?
and restricted to just that.
The peddlers is a very bad ordinance that refers, it basically refers to only door-to-door salespeople.
Okay,
Yeah, it's something with update.
okay.
Joe. Joe has a question.
Yes.
I
Joe.
I
Uh-oh.
don't want to be too premature about this. I didn't read this because, I'm gonna have to take a stand tomorrow if I don't say something. We are now looking into having a availability specific for placement, and we're beginning negotiations with people who own that piece of property across the street that was pie. putting in a custom built trailer for coffee, muffins, maybe grab and go sandwiches
Oh, nice.
for the weekend and the Monday.
A good looking trailer,
Huh?
good looking trailer.
Jeff, you know me. That's that question.
You know,
But that's where, if I don't say that now, and Sam knows I was at this meeting tonight and I didn't say anything,
Yeah.
I have to pay the price. I don't wanna pay.
No, I think that's a great.
So
that's a
I'm gonna.
great
put it out
idea.
there.
If you
We're
can get them,
now in the process of talking.
get them to agree to that.
Building
that'd
our
be
own
wonderful.
truck, not truck, but trailer.
Yeah.
Self-contained trailer. There's a company in Florida that makes them to your specs. We'd have to go down there and bring it up. But that's where I'm at right now. I'm thinking about putting it there. And we're negotiating with the lawyer who is representing, Elkham, that the property there. Having it there. During busy times when they, take a load off my kitchen, basically, and that's true.
Oh, it'd be,
You guys are good
it would be great, it'd be
Yeah.
great. Don't forget, you do have design review, even though it's.
Yeah,
Right,
go
right.
through the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, if I don't say something right now, and she is about that, when she and I didn't say anything, I don't.
So in the meantime, how can we conclude this?
So I was gonna say, if we're gonna make a compromise, the board can approve something, under pending a conversation with planning and zoning and other people. We talked about this internally. We didn't do a deep dive, so we didn't know where the board was gonna fall, so we don't waste too much time on it. But if you're either gonna vote in favor or leaning in favor, we'll then allocate time to make sure we have the right answer for you within a week.
Yeah, I'd like the Sunday through Tuesday.
Yeah.
In front of the library because it does move it away from residences.
Right. We'd have to choose which parking space.
Yeah.
Would Sunday through Tuesday work for you?
I think so, but I can also get back to you guys on that. I think that's a good plan for now.
And can you send us, in the meantime, can you send us a little bit more information? Like, I would love to see the generator.
Sure.
If you have an example that maybe you could send
Yeah,
us.
I can send you
Because I know
the
that's
specs.
gonna be a
and-
concern.
Yeah, I can send you specs and sources with the noise, because there's a lot of research done on that.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. And then if you have a menu,
I can do potential.
because I drive the 30 minutes to Jordan, yeah, 'cause I'm like, gotta go, gotta get it, so,
And then I also just had another question. How does renting a space work and stuff?
So we're talking about parking spots?
What would we be renting, or can we just pull in to the reserved parking spot?
It would be reserved for your use, but then it's,
Can I say how much they get or something? Put it on your-
yeah, and it's only a
Pay for the
dollar, it's
day.
only $1 an hour.
Mhm.
Would you pay so much a day or something?
So all the parking
$7
goes
a
through
day.
the police department, so
Okay.
Chief Swanson and Michelle Sutherland can walk you through that process.
Okay.
It's pretty simple.
Oh, so it'd just be the normal parking?
it would.
Yeah.
Okay,
And how many hours would you be there?
10 to 6-ish. So 8,
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah,
so
you
we would have
still get
to,
dinner, Jeffrey.
yeah, I know, what I'm saying, is we would have to make a variance to one of the new parking regulations that we're proposing, which is a 4-hour limit
No, not on the green.
in front of the library at a parking lot.
Oh,
I can put it, something in the draft, people got.
I mean, we could do this.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, just bringing that point up.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I just had another question
Yeah.
about the technicalities of things. So you were saying, is there any, I don't really know how to phrase this in a way that, would there be anything stopping us from doing it a different day? Or would we have to come back and get permission through you guys?
Yeah, so if the board votes for a certain set days, those are the days they give you permission for. If anything above that, you'd have to come back and you have to take a separate votes.
Okay, I was just asking because you were mentioning earlier that there aren't any specific rules about doing it. So that's the only reason why I was
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah, and I think, if you have any other questions, Eric will have the answer.
Yeah, and you've already talked to Nikki
Yeah.
about this, so yeah, that's what we'll go through.
But let's keep I mean, you all have been connected,
Yeah.
obviously, so let's keep that conversation open, certainly.
Okay.
I think that I think think the board is hungry and we are interested in trying to figure out how we can do this in a way that, yeah, obviously benefits the community because that's what we're here for.
Yeah, exactly.
So thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Okay, so are we,
So-
I just wanted to ask.
Eric's gonna follow up with you.
Okay, so no votes?
We can vote to approve Sunday to Tuesday, at a parking space to be determined by us in front of the library.
Pending some research on me,
Pending-
yeah.
Pending,
Legal advice.
Pending
yes,
legal advice from,
pending some research by our municipal manager.
okay.
That's my
So would you like to
motion.
make, that's your motion?
That is the motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
One question.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to do 11 to 7? Or does it need to be 10 to 6?
I think we possibly could do that. I think that's
You think it's 4
definitely
hours?
possible.
Oh, that's 5 hours, time, right?
Because I mean, most people don't eat lunch at 10. And
Or do you just need to get there at 10? Do you have to,
Yeah, because like we have
Hour,
to
like,
set up and they have to
set up.
prep and all of that also.
so you wouldn't actually be like selling food until like 11, so you. would-
Probably, yeah.
Okay,
because I think if they stayed open until like 7.
Yeah.
That would probably be beneficial. You don't think so?
I'm not, I'm in front of the cafe at 5, 6 o'clock at night watering the flowers.
yeah.
The amount of people who buy and ask. If there's a place to eat, count on one of them. We just said, but it's over there. Occasionally, I'll get somebody to come by and they'll say, you know, we just got to town, we can't find a place to eat. I'll give them the thing, come back tomorrow, pay for it tomorrow. But the traffic really isn't there. I mean, for a dinner crowd, yeah, sure, start at 6 o'clock, start at 5:30. But for somebody to go from 11 to 6 or 7 at night, we close our kitchen at 3 o'clock. And we get a few people in that have to get coffee, something like that, or maybe a buffet, but very, very few. It doesn't, for us, just speaking for us.
Some locals,
It doesn't justify the amount of traffic that they will have the people in there.
it'd be interesting.
We try to stay open to 5. Kitchen open to 5, just as much system.
Some people would consider this
They might.
locals
Yeah,
to take home for dinner.
Right.
yeah.
Mm,
I-
that's what I mean.
Says the
That's-
person who would walk by it
Yeah.
on his way home.
Yeah. Tonight we're having Indian, yeah.
So do you wanna say, give the possibility?
Sure.
Because we could say between 10 and that you can operate between 10 and 7 and
Okay,
you.
Yeah, and you could always
Figure out
Yeah.
what works, then.
make it shorter.
okay. All right,
Yeah.
sounds good. Yeah, I also wanted to just point out, like, we haven't done a food truck before. It's only been a restaurant, so we're also probably gonna learn new things about patterns and traffic patterns and what's working for us, like financially, with profit wise and all of that, so.
And I think it's knowing that it's newish for us, then like keeping the lines of communication open about like, hey, we're discovering that like, we're not making any money this day, or whatever else is happening. I think that it's helpful for you all and helpful for the municipality to learn from each other.
Perfect.
So we're taking where were we in the vote?
10 to 7.
Did we take the vote?
11 to 7.
No,
We're
Oh,
about
but
to,
it could
We're
be
about
10
to, and
to
then she had the
7.
question, yeah. So there's still a motion on the table.
okay, is there a second?
I seconded already.
Bill,
I've been listening. to
okay.
aye,
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah.
Can I make one small suggestion? I think it gets overlooked with any truck or anybody that comes in, buys stuff. So maybe it doesn't, but I think it's very important to think about traffic.
Yes.
And people overlook that a lot. They start setting up what they want to do, when they can operate, and then where the hell we put the truck?
yeah,
Right,
Because it generates.
Yes.
right.
An enormous.
yeah.
We've been having a lot of conversations
Trash.
about trash.
Yes.
Receptacle.
We've had a lot of conversations
There.
about trash.
Put some extras in.
We've been having a lot of conversations about trash.
That's not a big- All right,
Okay, next item on the agenda is parking.
parking.
Okay, Jeffrey and
Brenda.
Brenda.
So, everyone saw,
Here.
what's that?
Is she waiting for something?
Yeah, she wanted to, so why don't you talk about parking,
Okay.
and then we'll,
Okay.
go over it.
I just
You
didn't
have it
want
that
her
we
to
can put it
sit
up?
through all of this. Sorry,
I don't,
go ahead, Jeffrey. Do it.
I don't have it put
I'll
up,
put it
but
up.
it all got sent to everybody.
Good night,
you.
thank you.
So, as you're working on that, I'll say that Brenda and Susan Chiefsky and myself, and on a few occasions, Chief Swanson met to discuss parking changes in the village of Woodstock. We're presenting tonight. I'll go through them one at a time. They've been presented mostly already to the public and to the board. This is a more formal one. So we want to increase to change the meter hours. They're currently from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We want them to be 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., which more closely follows the business's hours of operation. These wouldn't necessarily talk about increasing the hours for the meter readers. They would have flexible hours. The public would not know when, so they might start at 11 and go to 5 on some days, and start at 10 and go to 4 on other days. We won't know which. That's one way we discussed dealing with that, so that doesn't increase expense and hours for them. The next thing we're recommending is to change the meter time to 4 hours from endless, except around the village green. One of the reasons for that is to promote having some folks who are currently employees who are spending all day at a meter, encourage them not to do that. And
Do what, Jeff?
not to pay,
Right.
to pay all day, spend all day at one meter. So we would like to change it, instead of being unlimited, to 4 hours. And then that's how long you can stay at 1 meter. We want to add 2 parking spaces on Elm Street near Vermont Flannel, where there previously were, I think, a minimum of 3 that we've lost. And we would like to add 2. We believe, based on history, that would be safe, as those spaces were occupied by cars for a very, very long time. And although that goes against federal regulations, we have the authority to make that decision if we choose to. And I point out that we are already in violation and have been at the Central Street crosswalk under the old pharmacy, where 2 parking spaces are closer than regulations say we should be, and we've decided to leave them as parking spaces. So we already have a precedent in that regard. And we need the parking spaces, especially if people come up with proposals like getting rid of parking spaces at Mechanic Street parking lot. We need to find more parking spaces wherever we can. I know that. I know that. So that's that's something else we're recommending. We're recommending that we maintain the same hourly rate of $1, which is generous, but we recommend continuing with not raising the rate to park per hour. We recommend making rate changes in the 3 permitted parking areas. The Mechanic Street, which is 18 spaces, and the library parking lot, which is 4 spaces, and Elm Street, which has 10 spaces, which will be available for permitting in their own manner. And the way we want to change that is so that it follows what, for Mechanic Street and the library lot, the same rate as if you were parking at a meter. However, you have a reserved space, and that's your motivation for having that space. So that would be $7 a day. The card, again, they would have to display that card, and those spaces are limited to employees of businesses that operate in the village of Woodstock. Elm Street, 10 spaces that are available are spaces that are not reserved spaces, but would allow you to park there at a reduced rate from the Mechanic Street or library lot. Instead of $7 a day, it would be $4 a day. You would not have a reserved space, but you would be able to park there, and that would be open to employees of businesses in Woodstock also. And if when that opens up, if it's not just, if it isn't filled by 10 employees, it would be open to any senior citizens 65 and older who live in the village of Woodstock. Then the next thing we're recommending is to provide a 15-minute parking space in front of the visitor center, or the meter somewhat like we see in front of the post office, so that people can pull up for short periods of time to ask a question, to use the restroom, and it's quicker turnover and provide space like that, which doesn't exist currently. We don't know if Joe has found a meter yet, but
We believe we have them. I think they're in the shipping container that's at the highway garage. When I was up there last, it wasn't really driving,
okay.
but I'm pretty sure we have one.
Okay, thank you. The next thing we're recommending is we want to kind of unify things so that the yearly renewal of reserved parking spaces is as of July 1st. Try to bring this all into one way, make it easier for Michelle Sutherland to manage this whole program. Also, we recommend that if feasible, that credit cards be kept on file so that people can be charged in an easier manner than chasing them to pay for the reserved spaces. We want to modify what we have proved due to the nature of the business at 121 Home, a private space essentially, their need to have furniture go in and out as a loading zone, and it's been limited to that one business. We want to open it up to a loading zone for any business that operates in the village of Woodstock for that same limited time period, as a 15-minute unloading zone. Behind that spot, they can still unload there, but so could any other business that has a truck that pulls in. And we recommend making that more available in that manner, whether it be truck to a business or the need of a FedEx truck to pull in there or UPS on certain occasions. The next recommendation is to create a village parking map for both residents and tourists, making it easier for people to understand the types of parking spaces and the availability around the village, including the elementary lot. And we're going to be working on that. So this is just something that we're not asking and to do anything other than saying we would like to create that village parking map and then have it distributed at the Welcome Center and maybe the library. We'd have to see. In order to accomplish these things, we'd have to update resolutions. We need to repeal Resolution 3 and 3A, which have to do with the reserved parking spaces, and modify Elm Street to include over 65 parking if not filled by employees. And we need to actually create a resolution for the library lot. We actually never created a resolution itself. The final thing we're recommending is to review the contractor's use of metered spaces to perhaps make it more uniform and have it make sense, and any fees that we come up with, so we don't have that set yet, this is something we want to come up with, would be paid for by whoever has hired the contractor to use that space for their building.
What do people currently do? They just pay the parking.
Joe, how are they currently paying?
This is where the depend on if they reserve spaces per week or per month or whatever. This is something that came up for Robbie, one of this come up to me. It would be $10 a day paid to show. as opposed to paying the meter, that's, I think where you get the reservation.
So it's cheaper to just show up and pay the parking meter, but you pay the $10, you get a reserve for you ahead of time.
Yeah. What have the people been doing lately? You know, the parking on Central Street for that built the endless construction going on there.
Sunday.
Yeah.
They, one of the projects started parking at the buildings, property across on Bond. They got permission from the new owners. The other one has been paying for their, permits.
Doing pay the $10
Yeah.
thing you described?
Yeah.
Okay. So these are the proposed changes. I'd like to hear, both Brenda and I would like to hear feedback from the rest of the board. And also, for some of these basic ones, I think it would be great if we actually move to voting on them. We're just so inclined. And especially the ones, you know, that number one, increase the meter hours from 10 a.m. Change the meter time to 4 hours, add the 2 parking spaces, maintaining the same rate. That doesn't have to be voted on at all. We just leave it as is. The rate changes in the 3 permanent parking areas. I think we could certainly vote on that. And then providing the 15-minute parking space as soon as we're able to physically, that could be voted on. The rest of this, I'll provide the 15-minute unloading zone, that could be voted on. And then we do need to update the resolutions. Can't do that tonight, obviously. But what does the board think?
Questions and comments?
Questions and comments?
I think it's great.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple of things. First, can I share stuff?
Yeah, I'm saying give you permission. No, Nikki, are you there? Can you give us permission to share a screen?
Share screen. Okay.
You should have it.
Thank you.
So there are a couple of things. Because we've been having this conversation for a while, I wanted to get a little bit more information, because the thing that I've been looking for is what is the parking situation in Woodstock? And that's something that I've never been able to find in terms of like, how many parking spaces are there? How many people need it? How many people use it? Because to me, suggestions, unless they are trying to solve a problem, I'm not sure what the reason is. There is sort of an amalgamous comment about we need more parking, which is in the eye of the beholder. I think some people are fine, some people are not, and I think we need to find out the reasons why some people think there's a parking problem and when some people don't think there's a parking problem. In trying to look for answers, the first thing I did was I talked to Beth Finlayson, and she was able to point out where there are some where there was some data from old reports. For those of you who have lived here longer than I have, which is not hard to do, there have been reports done. There have been reports done in 2003, 2006, and 2007. Let me pull this up. There it is. It's a little bigger. And some of this data already exists there. And so this was just, I kind of just looked through what was in the attic of the chamber. And there have been reports and reviews done in 84, 2003, 2006, an inventory in 2007, and then another inventory and survey done in 2007. And so what was discovered during these things were, and this is the 2007 parking survey, that of non-restricted parking that is for the public, there are 379 parking spaces, which is helpful to know, because when there is a broad statement like there is not enough parking, then we can say, okay, how much parking do we have? We have 379. This study that was done not only does that, but it tells you how many minutes it takes to walk from town. to walk from the corner of Central and Elm Street. So you can see that this is 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minute, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So within a 5-minute walk, you've got 347 parking spaces. These are paid and these are free. So on any given day, there are 347 parking spaces that are within a 5-minute walk. And so when I look at that, then I have to think about who's using those parking spaces. That is residents, that's employees, that's tourists. Those are sort of our big things. So my next question would be, how many employees use it? And that's not something that we have an answer for yet. And so that's something that I would love for this group to find an answer for, because especially when we're talking about restricting the amount of time that people can park places, which I don't disagree with. My question is, where are those people going? And I would love to know if Joe, if you know the answer, or if Beth, you know the answer, where do people park if they're not paying?
We require, we have 3 spots, right, at the cafe. Sam gets one, Scotty gets one, and I think Jenny gets the other. I didn't kick the house. So I bought a pass for Elm Street, and I parked my car there. I'll park at the cafe also, but you know, when everybody's on. But we require our employees park on Elm Street and walk around. I mean, on Pleasant Street. That's what we do at our guys. Now,
What do they do during foliage if there's no parking there?
well, they have already enough area. That isn't a problem.
Okay.
That has never been a problem.
Um,
Because no, they're there at 6 in
included
the morning.
study, correct?
So,
The amount.
No, these are.
and then they're gone.
Not include that,
They're gone by 5.
Yeah.
I don't think.
The amount of parking spaces in that study are no longer accurate. by the
Okay,
way.
so then what's the new number?
I don't have the new number, but I don't think it's relevant. What the suggestions that I'm talking about tonight, you bring up good points.
And
May I ask a question?
In addition,
The purpose of this, I appreciate and congratulate the hard work that goes into this. Is it to become more efficient? Is it generate more income? Is to organize better? What is the goal of what you folks are working so hard to achieve?
you named them all.
Huh?
Named them all.
Oh,
Pretty much.
yeah.
You
One of the things I always thought of,
And unlike your employees, we know that there are some employees who park
Yeah.
in prime spots, even in front of their own businesses.
And so where do they go? If
you
they-
know, and Jeff, I've heard that story for 30 years since I've been here, and I've always said to myself, any store owner that allows their people to park in front of the stores, shame on them.
Great.
Where do they go?
Yeah,
Where they go,
All
there
kinds
are,
of parking
there
spots,
are all kinds of places that they can go.
yeah.
10 o'clock in the morning.
So one of the things that I always thought of, if in terms of generating income, generating more money, why don't we charge the tourist buses for parking?
If we could, we would.
Why can't you?
That's a whole, that's.
I just spoke with Joe right now, just a few, when you told me to shut up, that's what I was talking about. I'm saying, how difficult would it be for the police officers to enforce parking permits for buses that come either on the east end or around the inn or anywhere? He said, he doesn't think it'd be that difficult.
Let's have that conversation at another time.
Well, wait a minute though, I don't know, though, Joe, really, listen to this.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right there, actually, yeah, I'll move it.
Go ahead.
I think the answer would be if the ordinance read that a bus was using anything other than the loading zone, the designated loading zones, they would be getting like $100 ticket or a $50 ticket or whatever, as opposed to having some sort of permit that they have to get first.
In my opinion, right, these buses hold what, 30, 40 people?
Maybe, right?
Yes.
I don't think it'd be unreasonable for a bus company to charge an extra $10 per seat. Now you're talking $300-400 a bus.
I would love that, and we have discussed that.
Why not do it? I
Well,
mean, instead of discussing it, just do it. I mean,
Because the roadblock that we have run into, that I've had the discussion, and I'll let Beth talk more about. The roadblock is if you want people to pay ahead of time, it's one thing to find somebody because they're parking in the wrong spot, but to say ahead of time, you have to pay X number of dollars. We don't know how to reach those people. Like, we can't, she does not.
Well, she should, and we've talked about it in the past about having an ambassador program and advising the buses that we have this program in effect. And there is a list, as a matter of fact.
Then I've been missing.
The village shop, the village butcher shop, what's his name?
Alex.
Alex has a list of these buses because he advises them about what their specials are gonna be when they get it. There is a list. It can be done. And all, instead of, listen, you wanna park here? Fine, just buy a permit. And it's 33, it's $10 a head or $10 a seat. I wouldn't say head, I'd say $10 a seat. And you can park, and we're reinforcing it. I mean, it doesn't piss anybody off because visitors don't like paying. Residents hate it. There's sometimes when, it's difficult to staff it. And it's just money sitting there that can be gotten. I don't understand why it can't be done.
Potentially could.
Yeah, I think let Beth hop in because she'll probably answer that, but also, there's also someone here I want to speak because
Yeah.
they have a request for parking as well, and as we talk about parking as a whole, I want to make sure we have a perspective as well, so if we go to
Right.
Beth, and then
Noel.
you, Noel,
Right.
yes. So Beth, do you want to answer that?
What am I answering? I'm sorry, about buses?
Yes.
Why don't we charge buses?
No, I don't want to answer it at this moment. I'm not prepared to answer it.
Okay, that's fine.
But I do have a question
Yes.
about the whole proposal. So you're going to charge people like me who work in town. We're going to go from $640 a year to $1,680 a year for parking on in the back of Mechanic Street. I just think that that's really a huge increase for, I'm not a business owner. And so anyway, I just find it, the people that park there are all just plain old employees. You have one lawyer back there. So I just find that really, anyway.
Thank you, Beth. Noel.
No, do you want to speak, or do you want someone to speak for you, or? Okay, perfect.
Okay. Is the microphone's back there?
Yes.
Okay.
There's nothing with parking.
Thank
It
you.
does.
My name is Noelle Nunes. Thank you for this opportunity to address a concern of mine and hopefully a great resolution for everyone. I'm a local community member and I'm a parent at Woodstock Elementary School. I'm a Bridgewater resident, yet a bank. I use the postal service, I dine, I shop, and support local business in the village. We attend local village events and I value truly supporting local businesses, and at those times, happy to pay our respective meter fees. I do understand and value the importance of the revenue that comes from the village parking meters. I respect the current meter order in place. However, I would like to request village consideration to grant exempt spots on the green to families and caregivers who are picking up their children from Woodstock Elementary between 2:30 p.m. and 3:15 p.m. on school days. Since the fall, I have reported to town management and law enforcement that parking safety is an issue at school pickup. Enrollment to West has increased. Since COVID, parents like myself now work from home. We have more flexibility to pick up our children. Naturally, due to those things, congestion has gotten worse over the years. Cars continue to park unsafely, and I do observe that daily. This is not to point out that parents are being intentionally disrespectful of any law whatsoever. I truly believe they turn the corner, there's no parking, they have to get their kids, and they park. You cannot safely park along Vale Field. I have attempted to do so, and you're so close to the guardrail. I can't open the side of my car door against the guardrail. And cars are usually, if you observe, part of their tire is in that state highway, which means that children are entering cars at school pickup in that state highway, which has been a huge safety concern for me and other families. This also means that, oh, I'm sorry. These limited spots do become worse during the winter naturally because of the snow. I understand that there will be times that the request that I am making is going to be invalid. I know that during peak seasons and tourist times and events, there will truly be no option for parking on the green. A day like today was a perfect example though. There was absolutely no one on the green. I did park there and safely picked up my child after I paid for parking on the green. I do greatly appreciate tourist season. It's a huge part of the revenue for our community. So I'm glad that we have those busy times during the year. I have been respectful of paying for parking. Several times the card reader hasn't worked on the green where parking, and I really need to get to my child. I have a baby in the stroller, and so I've actually paid for people to park because they did not have coins and the card reader was challenging. I know that there's an app. I can appreciate that that is a feature just to address that sometimes I do lose service from the Woodstock rec to the school. I've tried a couple times and had challenges there. Despite those conveniences, they can also be a challenge. And regardless of those, I really do feel that it's fundamentally not at the best interest of families to charge parents to pick up their children from school. It's a principal thing for me at most. You know, today alone, when I observed 2 cars that were parked very unsafely, and again, at no disrespect to that driver, I know that that was not to impose being disrespectful to the law. Knowing that there were spots that they could have just easily gone to the green, not had to go to the meter, enter everything in and go, they could have just parked on the green and safely picked up their kids because truly there was nobody there. It's not like they were taking a spot. A suggested solution could be a simple parking pass on the dashboard in a car that just says Woodstock Elementary pickup, or validating the ticket. I would think that it would be a challenge possibly to have school staff validate that. I really don't personally think that there's going to be mobs of people on the green. I think even just 3 people parking would alleviate some of the unsafe things that I've seen. But being able to possibly write school pickup and, you know, trusting no one would take advantage of that. When I pick up my child, he gets out at 2:40. I like to get in and out as fast as possible. This small step in due diligence from the village and supporting the school and families, I think would just show such a support in overall community safety, and I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Noah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have thoughts?
So, my thought is I appreciate what your concern is. As a parent who had 3 children in the elementary school back when the numbers were just as high as now, know what it's like to pick kids up, and so yeah, this for a short period of time it is a challenge, but I also know that I'm not aware of any safety issues that have occurred over a very, very, very long time period. I'm not aware of even one, but so that part, I just don't understand the need versus how we've always managed. And I live right there personally. I see what goes on every day. you know, it's also free parking right opposite here. Or almost exactly the distance as the village green, with no meter needed whatsoever, right opposite town hall. Have you ever considered parking here?
Yeah, please.
I do appreciate those things. Some of the things that have been, so first, I would question if parking in front of a fire hydrant is a safety concern. That is, today there was, yes,
Yes, that-
daily, it's observed daily.
No, I meant,
It's not my place to provide pictures to you, but I do have documentation that is a huge concern and I have reported that. Today, right behind the person parked in front of the fire hydrant, there was a car parked, which is blocking an exiting road. And again, to no disrespect to the drivers who were not, you know, trying to be lawbreakers, that is a safety concern. So have kids gotten hit by a car? Probably not. But if you are telling me that my child getting in a car partially on a state highway and me having to say, wait, that's a safety concern. I would invite you to and observe it. I have suggested that many times to town. I have been approached with, well, we've always done this for 20 years, or it's always the way it's been done. And I do value that. But, you know, not the principal fact that we're charging parents to park on the green seems a really simple situation to provide a few additional spots. Even those two people that turned the corner and parked illegally could have just driven back around. And there are times where there is no parking legitimately anywhere. So the congestion is extreme. So again, I can't stress enough the safety issue. I don't know if you're referring to a safety issue like a child's been injured or a parent's been injured. I don't think those have been reported, but I would think that the other things that I've observed on a daily pickup basis are definitely a safety issue.
I mean, I would echo because I'm also somebody who drops off and picks up every day. It's a cluster. And some of it, I mean, and some of it is just like, when I'm late, it's my own fault for being late. Like
Right.
I have to understand that I'm just not gonna get a parking spot. And it is a broader time because there are, the high school and the middle school also picks up and drops offs. So it's a broader time than just until like 3 o'clock. It really is 3:15 or 3:30, depending on who else you're picking up. I had a similar conversation with Jeffrey as we were talking about parking, and I was like, but I can't park. And he was like, why don't you go around the corner? And so no, honestly, I go around the corner. Like I park right here and I park next to the church, and it's a little bit farther of a walk. My kids complain, but I kind of have to deal with it. So I understand, and I will also agree though, that parking next to Vale is like, we shouldn't be doing that because
No.
I tell them I like park off so that my kids can crawl on the other way, but then you're crawling on top of things.
Yes.
It is not safe. The other thing I would say is that people are horribly unsafe. I mean, people are horribly unsafe there. And Mr. West, God bless him, he does his best. Yesterday, we were like, can you tell that diesel truck to stop running its engine and gagging us all? And he was nice enough to do that. But people park in front of, every single day, people park where they're not supposed to.
I think they would no matter what problem.
Yeah, but that's
Human
where,
nature is-
yeah,
it's
but there,
like,
but there
that's
is
where the
a,
school is.
yeah, and I think that if parents don't feel like they have an option to do anything else because you have to get your kid, even if you are parking farther away, like in the morning when it's just a drop off, and it's scarier because kids are running around without parents. You know, people park across the street from the school in a spot that is not a spot constantly, which is totally annoying. And I don't know if it's the police stopping by and saying, this is what you can control and this is what you can't. Mr. West does the best he can, but he's not a police officer. And I think it's a conversation with the school. Eric and I have had a conversation in the past, Sherry and Maggie. They have told us that they have not heard any.
I did talk to Maggie this morning.
Yeah.
And she actually didn't feel that the morning part was as concerning, but the pickup, she did agree. And actually she had even before I had said anything about the parking passes, suggested that that would have been a really great idea to help alleviate. I've gotten to school and I've actually called Eric before during the time pre-K gets dropped, which again, pre-K is also adding one more class. And thankfully, families are coming into this community. So I'm so happy that that population is increasing for school kids. So you can't really even get there early because pre-K pickup is at 2:15. Some parents stay to pick up other children, but then the other parents are coming in. It's, I've gotten and circled around to look for most any spot sometime at, 25, 30 minutes early. Something that has been mentioned to me in the past is that, park in front of town hall. I do understand that. I also think that a simple solution when there's open spots, like literally no one was on the green today. I paid for parking, but parking in front of town hall and then having children cross these state highways multiple times when it really would seem like an appropriate option. We're talking about validating. I mean, I was home by 3 o'clock today. We're talking about minor periods of time in supporting families that are also banking, shopping, and I'm paying parking for those types of things, which I'm not complaining about, but parking to pick up your child seems
How many
something.
people do you feel are in your situation would need this kind of assistance to be able to park in there? Are there 10 people like this, 20 families? I mean,
I'm sorry, you're
how
asking.
many people would need this?
I think so. In my talk with a lot of families and just my own, which I know that petitions are not welcomed in like an online setting, but in just gathering some information from families, I have about 20 families that have already come to me and been like, finally someone's talking about this and getting this to happen. Realistically, I can probably see like 4 or 5 families. There are going to be people, like you said, that are just going to park wherever they want to park. That can't be avoided. But when they are welcome, encouraged to park in safer parking that they know is convenient, and they just know that they can go to a parking spot on the green, like the half of the row behind the parking meter, that section. I'm sorry, I don't have like the actual coordinates, but I think that maybe 4 or 5 people would actually take advantage of it. But those 4 or 5 people are going to really alleviate some of the true safety concerns.
Chief, can I ask you a question? So as the trustees consider all parking things and potentially this as well, in your opinion, if the trustees wanted to do something for parking for school, what would be the most efficient way for your department to handle it? Would it be a parking pass? Would it be having the school collect parking tickets and spin it to you once a week that you could void them? What do you think would be the? If you don't have an answer now, you can come back next time. I was trying to think. So
Yeah. If they were to do a permit, you'd have to do an ordinance for it.
okay,
Cause I wouldn't want some sort of haphazard, like self-made permitting or anything like that. It would have to have some sort of control. I don't know what the wording would be off the top. I mean, I think that Jeffrey's suggestion was to be my suggestion in the park. Prospect Street on the Prospect Street part of the green that's across here that's not permitting, you don't have to cross Route 4.
So
And
can
it's
you
no
tell me
not meter.
where that is?
Yeah.
Right out here.
literally Right here.
Right out
St.
here,
James.
the little triangle,
there. Yay.
but it's this little triangle right out here. And then you take that little street and it comes along the side of the school.
right there. That makes sense. We're right here, kind of right across the street.
So if there's, but I think something that's concerning to me is like a day like today, where there's really open parking and it would be the most appropriate, closest place to get children in and out. We would rather have them park. It doesn't seem like certain days that people are really truly gonna park. Like I said, there's going a huge chunk of the school year that parking is not. Um, it's hard to see those spots just sitting there that would alleviate the congestion because we don't want to just validate 50 cents. I mean, I could truly do the math and think about if we were just, you know, validating 5 tickets a week. You know, it seems like an unreasonable deeper dive into, you know, validating the tickets that, again, probably no one can park in the green during the fall anyway. The winter loses so many parking spots. We're really talking about, I've only been able to truly park on the green consistently, you know, February and March. Summer gets busy, Wednesdays you can never park anyway. It's not something that I think is going to be a loss of revenue for the town and encourages appropriate safety.
I think I'm left, I am not concerned about a loss of revenue, but that's
No.
not my concern. It is the logistics that I think have to be talked through and looked at, because if it is only, and I don't want to say only, but if we're again looking at, and whoever knows what the updated number is, but 300 plus parking spots within 5 minutes of the school, I have to, if the spots exist and you don't want to use them, what is I mean, not to sound rude, but like, if the spots exist and you don't want to use them because you don't want to walk another 2 minutes, why are we creating?
I wouldn't say that I wouldn't want to walk another 2 minutes. I'm thinking, like, I have a baby stroller.
Yeah.
So crossing the state highway even more with a baby stroller, and it's snowing and it's raining. It's not that I'm being physically inconvenienced myself. I'm thinking of the appropriate, safe, most efficient parking. If I'm parking far away, and I really don't mind walking 2 minutes on a nice day, but with a baby stroller in the snow, in the rain, with a 5-year-old, farther when I'm looking at a lot of open spots seems not community friendly.
There's no extra crossing parking spaces versus the green to what we're suggesting on Prospect Street.
Okay, I might not for this, so I apologize.
Well, I think
this is something we need to
yeah, I don't think we're gonna,
figure.
vote on everything tonight or if anything. So I think this is someone who wanted to come and express
How that shoe came.
concern and
Yeah.
wanted to advocate for that cause. And I think she has, and I think the trustees can take this under consideration and decide
Well,
going
maybe
forward.
this is another conversation with the school and the school district. Because the last time we had the conversation, it was, there's not a problem. But
Yeah.
we were told that the perception was that there was not a problem. And so we just said, okay, if you guys aren't hearing anything, then that's it. But if the school is finding that, because then this is also a conversation with Wes, because pickup and drop off, there might be a more efficient way to do that. In fact, I was just talking to Sam the other day about a pickup and drop off, and are there better ways to do it? Because this, we don't want to tax the school anymore. They've got a lot of stuff to do, but we want to be in communication with them, certainly. Yeah.
Thank you. And I think, Wendy, do you have a question or comment? You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Thank you. It's a quick comment, circling back. It's kind of a reminder, a reality check to when the discussion of the Windsor County Courthouse joining the state courthouse here. When that's doubling the activity, I have served on jury duties for both locations, and they issue parking passes for the day for those juries. And typically you park near the courthouse. I just wanted to mention that's coming up too in that particular area.
Thank you.
Think this through, yeah.
Thank you. So I don't know whether.
Is this something I could follow up on, just so because I followed up with Eric several times before.
Yep.
It does mean a lot to me to see how this all pans out. Is it something I would just follow up with you?
I think we'll discuss it next month.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna continue to discuss this, and there'll be a
Okay.
conversation on parking of the trustees
Bring it up.
next month. And between now and then, we'll do some more research, talk to maybe the school again and go.
Okay,
Maggie.
You might take a look at Prospect Street, just,
okay,
no, just
Great.
try that out.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, it is.
Can we possibly
Yeah.
look at some of the limited ones I was trying to get through just tonight?
So can I just make one suggestion? Because it is late. Could we, at minimum, take number 3 and discuss it later? Because I think I want a larger conversation about that.
Oh, yes, fine.
Okay.
Try to get some of these off if we can.
Just wait till next month.
Well, what are your priorities?
Well, I'd like to, because I want this to go into effect, recommending July 1st for the fiscal year. So number 1, increase the meter hours by 1 hour from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. starting July 1. I want plenty of public notice about these changes. Change the meter time to 4 hours. We'll
Is that
hold,
what, number 2?
Number 2.
number 2, we'll hold off on Eric's thoughts on number 3. Then the rate changes, we're recommending those. I know it's not going to make Beth happy, but we're recommending those. It's $7 a day for reserved spaces.
But it's an extra $1,000 a year. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, it's whatever it works out to. It's Monday through Friday. It's $7 a day.
Okay, so it's
And
$640.
$4 a day on Elm Street for unreserved space where you don't have.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that I've got this correct. It's $640 a year for Mechanic Street right now. Is that correct?
It's going to be, it's,
Yeah,
yeah.
I see what it's gonna be. I just wanted to confirm.
Yeah, I don't have the old one
It's,
here.
it's
Well,
$140 a quarter.
So it's 140 a quarter.
That times 4.
So,
So
Jeff, can I
that-
make a recommendation for you? If,
That's
what if we did,
$640 a year.
Okay, so fine. That's what that one is.
what if we did potentially 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 tonight? Those seem the least controversial. And save 3, 5 for next time, and then 10, 11 needs to be worked on more anyways.
When you say 1, 2,
Basically everything besides 3 and 5. Up till number, so 1 through 9, just take away 3 and 5.
Well, we can. If that's what the trustees want to do.
I mean,
I
I'd say
I
the
would
least
say that's fine. The only thing that I want to just point out, because I don't want this to get overlooked and then have there be a recourse, is adding on 2 parking spaces by Vermont Flannel. That was number 4.
That's number 3.
Oh, number 3.
Yeah. By
Okay,
By the Vermont Flannel.
then I did the wrong
Where
one.
we lost 3 last time they did the road.
Can I ask?
Can we finish this? Is this a different point?
Yeah,
Is this about parking?
Can
No.
we finish? Finish this narrow thing we're trying to do.
Vermont Flannel parking.
So that's 1, 3, 6, what did we say? 1, 3,
so I have 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9.
1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Because 4 is just keeping the same rate.
Okay, that's what I.
I think,
39.
but I mean, that's my just brief
I
summary,
think
but
that would be okay.
I don't have,
Fine, if that's your recommendation, I'm fine with putting that off, but what we need to come back to it.
Get back to it next month.
I don't know, I think it's me,
Yeah, and let me
not
just
agree.
share this real quick. One more time. Can find it. Garden charts and stuff. So this is a reminder, and Jeffrey said this, but I want to make sure everybody sees this, and I'm gonna be the person that reads this. This is literally the rule of roads in Vermont. And this is Vermont Statute 23 VSA, Section 1025. U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration's Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, the MUTCD for streets and highways, as amended, and this is highlighted, shall be the standards for all traffic control signs, signals, and markings within the state. The latest revision of the MUTCD shall be adopted upon its effective date, except in the cases of projects beyond a preliminary state of design that are anticipated to be constructed within 2 years of the otherwise applicable effective date. Such projects may be constructed according to the MUTCD standards applicable at their design stage. Existing signs, signals, and markings shall be valid until time that they are replaced or reconstructed. When new traffic control devices are erected or placed, or existing traffic control devices are replaced or repaired, the equipment, design, method of installation, placement, or repair shall conform to the MUTCD. B, the standards of the MUTCD shall apply for both state and local authorities as to traffic control devices under their respective jurisdictions. According to the MUTCD, Rules of the Road, 23 VSA, Section 11.4, except when necessary to avoid conflict with other traffic or in compliance with law or directions of an enforcement officer or official traffic control device, no person may stand or park a vehicle, whether occupied or not, except momentarily to pick up or discharge a passenger within 20 feet of a crosswalk.
Yeah, so,
This
okay,
is the rule.
that's a
and
rule.
It is a national, state,
And
and
it's a rule
local.
that we have not followed in Woodstock forever, okay? Forever. And we are not following it now.
Oh,
So
Jeffrey,
I'm just saying,
respectfully,
respectfully,
the liability that comes with this,
we're
means if anybody
doing
gets
that
hit,
now.
we will be
Seton,
sued.
we're doing that now. Nor has anyone been hit in the spaces that we're proposing, bringing back, that were there for so many years. Nor are we doing and enforcing it at the crosswalk.
Which needs to be changed.
Oh, you want to get
obviously.
rid of 2 more parking spaces as
If
well?
that's the rule, but we are not going to
No.
do something that is against the law.
It's not against the law for
It-
us to.
it is.
It's for us to overrule.
It is against the
No,
law.
it's not.
It is.
I
Look
know
at what I just read.
rules.
The standards of the MUTCD
Sorry, so-
shall apply for both state and local authorities. Jeffrey, this is the rule, and if you don't like it, you're welcome to
No.
lobby the state of Vermont.
No, I'm not going to lobby the state of Vermont.
So this is one of the reasons why I said we should wait for number 3 to be discussed.
We're not waiting for number 3. We cannot vote on something that is illegal, and I have told you this number of times.
I've told you
I'm
that
giving
we
you the
can.
information.
I've told you we can.
And what I'm telling you is that we have spoken to lawyers, we have spoken to the state, and they said we cannot do this. And if this happens for some reason, I will call the state and have it reversed. This is not happening. Not on my watch are we disobeying the laws of the state of Vermont.
No common sense in what you're saying whatsoever.
The state of Vermont has laid out rules. The state of Vermont has laid out rules. We are not disobeying the state of Vermont. I don't have the power to, and you don't have the power to.
I'm not sure that that's true. And
It
that's
is
not what I've-
100%
that's not
true.
What I've heard. I've heard that we can.
We cannot. If you do
to-
it, oh, sure, you can do anything, but it doesn't mean it's legal. I can go drive 55 miles an hour in front of the town hall, but it's illegal. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. It is illegal, and we are not doing illegal things on this board.
Yes, we are.
We are not.
We are doing them right now.
We are not doing illegal things on this board. We are not going to vote to do something that is illegal. It is our job,
We are allowing it right now.
and we should fix that.
No, we shouldn't.
Of course, we should fix it, but this is something you are asking us to take an illegal step.
Question for you, Joe. Yeah. If we maintain what we're doing right now, and it hasn't happened yet, and nobody has a crystal ball, but if something should happen in one of those crosswalks, and something negative happened as a result of a car being too close to the crosswalk, would the town be exposed to some liability?
Yes.
Yes. Well, we have, so
Yes.
we have insurance, so you want to take away parking spaces that we've had there forever.
Well,
And
correct by saying, you gotta follow the law.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I know it's very contentious here for Vermont.
I'm not saying I want them, of course not. We need all we can get.
Yeah, okay.
But you know, if something happens,
I think we need to research it further. For one
We
thing.
have, what research do you want to do?
So
But
I think Bill wants to speak. Bill,
Yeah.
good.
hardly ever say anything, so. So we have 300 and something park.
300 and some, yes.
And Jeffrey, I appreciate the passion you have to get the.
It's really hard to hear, Bill.
This is in the middle of the village.
Yeah, I know it's in the middle of the village, but a lot of places to park. I think the biggest thing you have, not to deter the subject to a different direction, but this map idea is the best thing you've got. Get a QR code so people can find where to park. I think my opinion is the additional spaces, if there's any contentious discussion about it or any kind of danger that's involved, we gotta walk away from that. It's just not smart, legal, otherwise. When I drive that little section there, coming back from the athletic club where I go every day to play pickleball, I come back, I go, really slowly. I'm talking 15, 10 miles per hour just to make sure nobody's walking across that crosswalk from Flannel to Gillingham's. So I just think we're fighting over two spots in a big town. I know it'd be nice to have them, Jeffrey, but I think also that having more information about where to park and how to get to places, that map is just like the best idea. Not to change the subject to the map. I think
No.
that's like, whoa, let's get that, have some, I don't know who's gonna make that.
The map
happen.
is
That's
gonna
great.
be wonderful. One thing I've learned in 46 years, right in the center of the village, is that people will always want to park as close as possible to where they want to go. That's never going to change.
Yeah.
So if you could point out a parking space that's far away or at the east end, and say, oh, that's a good idea. Look at all the parking spaces there. It doesn't matter.
I understand.
People are still gonna try to park
Yeah.
as close as they can. So, if the trustees don't want to vote for this, okay, to me, it makes no sense. To me, that was there for so many years when people lived here, or many people have lived here, and there were no accidents whatsoever. There were 3 spaces there. We're suggesting putting back 2. The chief of police thought it was perfectly safe. He was in on that as well. So, rules that are made in Washington for circumstances that are not necessarily common sense in a certain place, such as a place that has history, where there were parking spaces there for that long, to me, it makes sense to maintain them. But to blindly follow rules because it's the rules
Because
somewhere.
it's safe.
Okay, so
No, it has been safe. Sometimes you prove safety by years of observing certain things.
So if I, Joe, do you mind?
You're having this discussion. By the fact that you're having this discussion, and I'm assuming it's part of the minutes, something does happen. Any lawyer can say, you know what? You had to talk, the chair identified the statute, you knew that it was illegal, and you decided to do it anyway. Boy, that's a big one. That, in my opinion, any lawyer would just hit a hammer on that.
Oh, there's so many laws and rules that,
So, yeah.
I'm sure that,
You're gonna really.
All right, I need to go.
Yeah, so I just want to be clear on something before we move on. The reason I said not to discuss number 3 tonight was not because I thought we should vote on it later. I knew this was gonna explode on 3 hours into a meeting, and I thought the conversation would be better served to have at the next meeting. But with all that said, just to be fully clear, the Woodstock Village has an ordinance. It's Title 8, Chapter 2, Chapter 5, which says we'll follow the MUTCD for crosswalks. So it is in our ordinance that we will follow MUTCD. Just so if we have this conversation going forward, we can acknowledge that we do mention that in our ordinance that we should follow it. That is what Seaton brought up on her PowerPoint. And that's what the lawyer said as well. So it is kind of referenced in our ordinance as well.
let's vote on the other one.
That'll be up to,
I'm suggesting we vote on the other ones, not vote on that. Obviously, there's gonna be disagreement there, so I'm willing to drop it.
Totally. Off the list.
Yes,
Okay, so we won't consider it next month either.
that one. No, not based on, because
So we're
I don't
taking,
want to yell at you again. I just disagree with you.
Yeah,
I think happy to let it go.
okay, so we're removing the adding 2 parking spaces in front of Vermont Flannel off of the.
Yep, that's right off the list.
Yes.
Gone.
Thank you.
so we're about to talk about,
Can we remove the posts from all the meters for that?
yeah,
Just there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they just keep reminding me that they were there for so long. Well, those meters,
Okay.
it's 83.
So I think we're talking about approving 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9 was the original conversation.
Do we need to do each one? We need to make a vote on each one.
I think you probably do it.
We could do them as a chunk unless someone has,
Tell you what,
take a look at them and then if you don't have an objection, let's do them as a chunk. If you have an objection, to separating one out, another one out.
My only one would be, that I'd want to have a separate conversation about, or just because of what. The meter time from 4 hours to endless. My only concern is employees.
Well, that doesn't hurt them.
employees are supposed to park at a meeting,
They're not even supposed to park all day at the meeting.
right?
We feel strongly about that.
So we'll hold on
Is
one.
there a rule that says, please don't park in a meter, or is that just like
No, it's
a custom?
Yeah, it's just
That people just-
common sense.
common sense.
Yeah.
We want customers to take
Your customers.
Oh, absolutely.
Right,
No, I don't disagree with it. I just want to make sure that
yeah.
that we can say to those people, this is the places that you can.
Right? Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah, we can. We can find plenty of places for this to park.
Well, let's-
Not,
You know what? I don't really think that we need to be in a huge hurry about this. I think that we should let's just wait till next month and we'll vote on it next month.
this is taking so long though, and we've met so many times. Can we just go with,
And you-
Well, I'm just,
You've talked to the owner of 21 Central, right?
yes, she's totally aware of this.
And how does she feel about that?
Well, she's okay.
Good.
She's okay.
okay, so we really can't vote on it because most of it's gonna fall within the ordinance. So we're gonna have to vote to update the ordinance.
Ooh. There you go.
All right, so
Most of it falls in the ordinance?
Yeah, so just, the 10 to 4 is under the ordinance. I just cut that quickly.
All right. Well,
Uh,
let's make sure we do this in April then,
yeah,
because
Well,
if we want to put it in effect by July 1st,
What
we
format is
can
it
move on.
in? Just to-
So we need to look at what one of these will fall in the ordinance, which ones fall under the parking policy we have.
We need an updated draft of those.
Yeah, so Jeffrey, did you guys have the parking procedures that police follow? Do they have a,
The only ones I had were for the County Street parking lot.
and that was just a separate police?
That's to modify the ordinance,
Okay,
resolution rather, 3 and 3A. So I don't know which ones you mean, but Eric, if you can prepare what you think we need in order to vote on this in April, that's great.
okay. Yeah.
Or if that's okay with everybody.
Yeah, be great.
I'll
But
check in
that's
with you guys.
just red tape,
Um,
but we need to do it.
all right, other
If
business,
it falls under an ordinance.
we did that. Minutes.
We
Every
have,
meeting
no,
by-
we still have two more things.
There's still two things.
That were the reorg, the EDC and the village meeting.
Why did you guys keep people out? Did I do something bad?
It's because you're so quiet, we know you were here. If you spoke up loud, we wouldn't know you were here.
We didn't realize you were here.
You blend in so well to the wall.
I think we can talk about reorg and building at the same time.
Yes.
So let's go ahead.
Go ahead, what?
We will move you ahead of reorg plans because we can talk about that.
You want to come up and? Do you have a handout for everyone? Do you have a handout for everyone?
Yeah. No, please. And let me have one.
No.
Speak from the heart.
The reason I'm here and representing the EDC is to kind of establish some clarity between, and an opportunity for a dialogue between EDC and the trustees about what we have in mind and how you guys feel about it. Essentially, Thursday, we're gonna vote on a grant proposal for $20,000. Now, let me back up a little bit. I'm sure you're all aware that everything the EDC has passed or purchased or done in the past, like the Eagles Landing, buying benches and trash cans and picnic tables, they all belong to the village. raise the money to allow you folks to purchase these things.
I need protein.
So they're yours. And it's all yours to maintain. Now, we completely understand that it's been difficult to budget proper maintenance for all these things. I mean, they're new, they require maintenance. It hasn't been done in the past because we really haven't had them. Teagle's Landing was bad for a very, very, very long time. And so what we're suggesting, and hope for your consideration, is a 3-year project where we would grant $20,000 the first year to maintain these items that are listed there. The following year, take it down by a third, and the third year, take it down again another third. And what we're thinking about doing is allowing the trustees to give them time to eventually be able to absorb it in your own budget. Instead of just saying, you know what, you gotta come up with 20 grand, take care of this stuff. Now, we can do it this year, and then we'll decrease it by a little bit next year, and then the following year again. Just to give you guys, you know, time to say, yeah, it's our responsibility and we should be doing it. And we haven't thought about it in the past, but we got to think about it in the future. So, you know, we've got 3 years to kind of figure out how we go about doing this instead of just bang, you got to do it now. So this is what we're thinking about. Everything's listed right here. I can answer any questions about any of the items. We're going to be voting on it this Thursday. So go ahead, talk about it.
Mulch trees for $100.
Huh? Mulch the trees. Yeah, that's,
What trees are you mulching?
oh, Teagles mainly, and around the green. You know, that's an item that Stuart Matthews and I are kind of working on this project. That's the kind of thing he threw in there. I'm not quite sure what that's about, but
Okay.
I think that's what he's talking about.
And I'll just say some of these have come conversations I've had with the EDC about how in the past they'd do projects for 1 or 2 years and then kind of it would fall automatically onto the town to take care of it. You know, the trash cans, the benches, moving the benches, that's now a DPW that does that. But where before it was Rotary at one point, then most people in Rotary are too old. So this is kind of, I said most, I said most. So this is kind of our idea of like some of these things the EDC wants to start them. We are requiring them to have a plan to transition it over to the town and village over a period of time. So I want to thank the EDC for doing this time to kind of at least have the conversation. No matter what happens, we'll go in the right direction.
And then these numbers, like for example, you know, clean urethane, the benches and tables, clean trash cans. Roger, and you know, water and plant the flowers. Roger did it last year. He does a great job. And he worked all summer long.
Yeah.
They may not need as much this year as last year because last year he went over every one of the tables, sanding them all down and urethane them all. Maybe that'd not be as detailed requirement this year. I'm not sure, but we use that figure from last year. The holiday lights, that's self-explanatory. Teagle's Landing, $500. That's a quote that Cy Benoit gave me. These guys, I work with them building the landing as it is right now. They are the pros. They are good. They do the job. They do it right. And for him to charge us $500 for a season going from May until the end of October, that's a gimme. I mean, they're gonna go down there, they're gonna weed everything, remulch, put down new stone if necessary, prune the trees that they planted, you know, and make sure that everything's all in good shape for $500 for the season.
They come to my house.
Huh?
Come to my house.
Yeah, I know it. I mean, he's doing really for a service to the town more than anything else. That's one of the.
And are you recommending this for this current year, so on July 1?
Say what? Yeah. Well, starting May, actually.
So who currently the EDC is paying for the seasonal flowers and the holiday lights?
The what?
Seasonal flowers.
Yeah.
Twilight.
Yeah, that's part of this program.
No, currently.
Yes, we paid for it last year, and Beth has to come back every year and ask for the money.
Right, and every year,
We give it to them, but it's kind of a thing where we should say, you know what? It's part of making the town look great, and it should be something that she shouldn't have to come back every year to ask for. It should be part of, we think, part of the budget that the trustees maintain.
I love it as a part of the EDC budget, other than the. Kidding, because they're already paying for that. So, I don't agree with those two. But, you know, some of this,
And so this would be starting this year, so starting this, since it's
Right.
going to affect in July.
Right. So it won't cost you anything at all this year.
And next, but I'll,
We're gonna put up the 20
So
grand this year.
So does this mean that this money goes to hire somebody to do that?
Or, yeah,
Who does the check get written out to? Eric himself?
I need them. I mean, typically the EDC does their own. I think you hire your own vendors and then.
Yeah, but this is town responsible for
Yeah.
the work or hires staff.
Yeah. So then, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that you're talking about once it starts to come down from the 100% this year.
right.
We have to hire our own staff.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah, exactly.
goes down to 60.
Well, I'm just saying, who actually hires Roger or whoever?
I think, with all due respect, it's a responsibility the village should have been maintaining right along.
But
You know,
you're giving
particularly, People's
$20,000.
Landing,
This year,
and the benches.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. This year, they're
Yeah.
gonna give us,
and then
That's
next
good.
year we start to have to be
That's-
responsible.
You have a comment?
This year, I mean, we have been in contact with the school, you know, the baskets are, planted by the school. I have a donation, a generous donation from the Woodstock Rotary Club. So that money will go toward the plants themselves. And then I have contracted and have a signed contract years past, not this year yet, with Roger Ansardi to do the flower basket maintenance. And that is at a set price. I also have pay for the lights with the help of the EDC, the holiday lights, and then work with local vendors, whether it's timber tenders who've been very generous, chippers, and also Cy Benoit, who have hung the lights at no cost. At great cost to them, but no cost to the town or the village.
okay, and I'm sorry, I want to make sure.
Go ahead,
So you would be giving, so this year, you would be giving $20,000 to the village,
right.
and then the village goes out and hires somebody to do these things.
Or, well, you could do that, or you just maintain the people that we've been, like Roger, you
Yeah,
know, to keep
but-
doing it.
but the village would hire Roger.
Yeah,
Chamber wouldn't hire Roger. The village would hire Roger or who.
right, because it's your money.
Okay, that was the point I was trying to
Yeah.
figure.
I still think the first two should stay with the EDC.
You still think they what?
First two should stay. I'd love to see, if we're gonna agree to this and start passing it on to the taxpayers. Prefer to, you know, do half,
And you would,
half of what.
you would prefer what, Jeff?
I prefer that before passing this on to the taxpayers, because after the first year, that's what this is proposing. That you do half of what you're proposing. Keep the seasonal flowers and the holiday lights as a part of EDC's budget, and pass the rest on over time as you're proposing to the village. I'm maintaining Teagle's Landing, I agree completely, that's like a park.
So so you're saying you don't want us to pick up the $11,500
Yeah.
every year?
Yes. But then.
But they don't have to.
That, I can't speak for the whole.
No, the EDC has to vote every year, but I mean, that's part of what the EDC is for, economic development. And they've always viewed it that way. It seems to me that that's something they would continue to support. If they didn't, I mean, we could face that possibility, but I don't.
Or are they saying that they don't want, that they are not going to do it anymore?
No,
We feel it's the village's responsibility to maintain the lights and the flowers.
So are you basically saying to us, we're not doing it after 3 years? Or is this a conversation or is this a statement?
We're having a conversation, see.
Okay.
Having a conversation. It's just
Just
something.
your plan.
This is something we're proposing.
Okay.
Not saying something that we're going to do,
Okay.
something we're proposing.
And
And it's in a sense of allowing the village to absorb it in their annual budget.
Thank you for allowing us to do that.
It's never been done before, so we thought we might do it this way.
I think it'd be a good idea if we're gonna absorb something, let's start at a lower level than 20 grand.
so I think we may want to look into this, is typically the grants will go in front of the EDC and they'll vote to approve them. Then those grants go in front of the select board only, not the trustees, and the select board approves them.
Right.
So with this, if this is a cost that's going to be associated with the village and not the town, we may want to have that vote be in a joint meeting so the village can actually vote on an increase to the budget, which you'd be doing. Or the vote would be for it to go to the town budget instead.
Yeah. Right,
So-
it's just the village that enjoys the holiday lights and the seasonal flowers versus the town that enjoys it.
You could do it that way. Because you know what, the select board is gonna have to approve it. So,
And the select board now oversees the entire public works department, so it probably would fall to the town. And I will also point out that in the coming month, the EDC will come in front of a joint board asking for their goals for the year, and the boards are going to give the EDC their recommendations for their goals for the year. So this also could be a good conversation to have at that point of what you want the EDC to be doing. Is it holiday lights and seasonal flowers? Is it something else? So that could be also a good point, a good time to have the conversation as well.
Good point.
And it's gonna be on the agenda for the EDC Thursday nights.
say what?
It's gonna be on the agenda Thursday night for the EDC.
Yeah, Thursday.
Thank you. This is
Y'all be
something-
quiet over there, guys.
always wondered how much it costs. But this is also, and I know we're running late, but Brenda has been working on getting volunteers to do some work as well,
Yes.
Yeah,
which is in a
adopt a park.
we can talk about that later if you want to. I just want
Yeah,
to bring that,
yeah.
because I know you've been putting.
I think around 10:30 we're talking that, right?
Yeah, I wanna go home. Bond Street.
But that's off the
Oh,
agenda.
we took that off.
Oh,
Yeah,
what?
but I remind you, if part of that is maintaining Teagle, these guys are gonna be there a couple of times a month, weeding, cleaning,
Okay.
replacing whatever needs to be replaced, $500 for the season. Volunteers.
They should do that. I think they
Yeah.
should do that.
What?
I think they should do that.
Yeah, who should do that?
Ty Benoit.
We should.
Yeah, for $500. I think he should.
He said-
He's a great guy.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, so last two things.
So when I go there Thursday, what should I report that you guys decided, if anything, at this point?
You wanna come by tomorrow and you and I can discuss?
Say what?
Wanna come by my office? I can discuss, yeah.
Yeah, so we're not doing the proposal. Village.
Yeah.
That's something that's bothering me a little bit.
These two.
Uh-oh.
It's almost 10 o'clock for us. Do it.
I'm trying to end this parking on maybe a little bit cheaper than light. I keep thinking about this $3,000 to $4,000 a day that would be generated by getting the buses to pay fees. It kind of sticks with me.
If you want to help us figure it out, man, I'm all about it.
It's something I think that needs discussion made rather than say, yeah, it's a good idea, and then forget about it for another year.
If-
That's a lot of money.
I keep getting stuck on logistics, but I'm happy to have more of a conversation and with you,
Yeah.
Beth, and
Yeah.
whatever.
All right,
Sure, let's
under
talk-
other
Well, we do need to talk
scratch that
about
one off now.
Huh?
Yeah, we do. need to
Minutes.
talk about
Up, no, we have
Oh, we
the,
still have two more things.
Two more things.
Two more things.
Good
night all.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the village meeting,
We're having a village meeting next week.
is next week.
Yeah.
At 7:30, the board will start the meeting, at which point,
The party starts at 7.
starts at 7.
This year.
Mhm.
Then we'll have the new member who's won the election sworn in. And then the board will have to vote to elect a chair and a vice chair for the next year. And that's a big reorg. I don't know if there's any more we want to talk about. So that's that, reorg plan.
No, we'll have a new board member. Losing Gabe, which is lost.
Yep.
And it is a loss,
Big
Gabe.
loss.
Project.
Oh, it's huge, huge loss.
Yeah, you've been,
Thank you.
you've been really.
Him after tonight, he's like, I made a good decision.
What was that, Jeffrey? I'm sorry.
You've been really valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have.
I appreciate it. I gotta say, it's, it's been, rewarding, to be able to serve. So it is a privilege for anybody to be able to do this. And, I've really, enjoyed a lot of my conversations with, not just all of you, but with, a lot of the other constituents. And, I gotta tell you, 99.9% of the time, it's been really rewarding. So, we all have to tackle some challenges in this role. But it's been really rewarding, and I've learned a lot too, so it's good. It's always important to learn something. So,
It really is.
thank you.
Gabe.
Thank you.
Appreciate working with all of you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, can we talk about
Yes.
briefly, at least, the village meeting? So you mentioned being on a listserv.
Yep.
And I wrote something up that I want to run by everybody because I'd like it to come from the Board of Trustees. And perhaps go out on Saturday, be on the listserv on Saturday and Monday.
And tomorrow.
And tomorrow.
He has 2 hours to get it on there.
I'll put it on.
I'm not gonna do it. Do it, but, or somebody, but here's what I'm proposing.
Okay.
I wrote this up. The annual Woodstock Village meeting is 7:30 PM, Tuesday, March 19th at Town Hall. Preceding the meeting is the village vote by Australian ballot for the open positions of village trustee from 7 AM to 7 PM at Town Hall. Villagers Lisa Lawler and Frank Hornick are running for one open 2-year term, and incumbent Jeffrey Kahn is running for a 3-year term. The village trustees invite all village voters to a pre-meeting social gathering in the town hall, 2nd floor meeting room at 7 PM. On your way to the gathering, stop at the Pentacle concession stand and pick up a goodie and refreshment courtesy of the trustees. On the 2nd floor, more snacks and refreshments. Thank you, Bill. We'll be waiting for your enjoyment. Relax, mingle, and greet your village neighbors until the annual meeting starts at 7:30. At that time, live election of other village officials will occur, as well as a presentation of the proposed village budget and special articles for the 2024-25 fiscal year. Be informed, ask questions, and vote on the proposed budget and special articles. You can view the village report in morning at woodstockvermont.org or stop by the town hall for a copy. The trustees urge you to vote on March 19th and then attend both the social gathering and annual meeting that evening. The trustees and the municipal manager are eager to provide information, but also want to hear your ideas and concerns. Please take advantage of the privilege of our Vermont democratic traditions at the annual Woodstock Village meeting. Woodstock Village Board of Trustees.
Lovely. I like it.
Beautifully done, Jeffrey.
I approve. Very nice.
All right, well then, if we could have, if you want to send it Wednesday, fine. If Nikki could send that out.
Do you have a-
Oh, wait, I could email it.
Yeah, you can
Yes,
email,
if
yeah.
you could email it. I can do that as soon as I get home.
And but just run it Wednesday, Saturday, and Monday.
We'll put it on tomorrow, so it'll go Thursday, Saturday, Monday.
Do you want me to do it tonight?
If you want, yeah, if you have.
And of course, there's a column coming out in the Standard by Jeffrey.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of which,
Oh, in the, just the, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, there is.
What was-
And
what
they're
was
telling
it?
a story.
what was the thing I saw on TV before.
Oh, yeah. Where were you being
With the two
filmed?
of you.
Oh,
You
no.
were
Oh, no,
too.
I wasn't. They didn't film me.
You and
You
your
were-
dog.
We were walking down the sidewalk. They
Of course you were.
ended up on CAX.
I'm like,
Oh.
man, oh, man.
It was about, they came in to the store and they interviewed me about the 1% tax,
Oh,
why I'm suddenly for it. But I told them I would for it.
Nobody told me I was being
All
filmed.
right, so I'll send that, but I have one other question. What about, is there any chance Nikki could make up just on regular paper, some posters that says annual village meeting? With social gathering for villagers, 7 o'clock, meeting 7:30, vote 7 to 7, 8 to 7:30, just something simple.
Where would the flyers go? I mean,
On
your
the
place,
usual bulletin board, yeah, well, the bulletin board, my place, Gillingham's,
On the green, the.
yep.
could you help?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
just
flyers.
hand them out. Just hand them out to people. Yeah.
I would ask if a trustee could help us with that, with village
Yeah, I can help
meeting,
with that.
Nikki is swamped with everything
Yeah,
else.
I can do that on
so.
Canva.
That would be great, just
Yeah.
something simple.
Yeah.
Do you have anyone helping you with the fireworks? Because I feel pretty guilty about this.
No,
Jeffrey's gonna help.
we have to have that conversation, we're having some issues with it, so yeah,
I'll help some.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll help some too.
okay. Or firework.
So, email me the stuff. I will put it up tonight and then I will make a flyer.
Feel guilty.
Good, I'm trying to guilt people finally. So the other thing with village meeting is how we want to handle just a conversation about really the budget's the big thing on there. The select board had a PowerPoint. I thought that went over excellent. I can put some slides together, but I don't know if there's other.
Lorna sent me the town one.
Yeah.
and I was just gonna like cut the town stuff out and replace it with the village stuff, just like use the same format.
Yeah, that's not a thing, yeah.
And so it'll just have the like everything that we're voting for. I'll just have a slide for each article.
Yep.
And then whoever wants to discuss the article, all pretty basic.
Yep.
And then the slide with the budget.
And the big thing would just be the police budget, because every other budget's been voted and approved on the town side, so
Okay.
the police will really be the one where any conversation
Do you
can
want me to
happen.
break out the police budget on like a separate, be like, this is the total, this much is the police?
Yeah, I think what you did last year was you kind of were able to break down how much revenue came in from the police
That's right.
side, so how much of taxes really went to the police, and it was like $4,000 something. I think
I
that
can
went a
do that.
long way of people understanding what they're actually paying for in the budgets.
Yeah. Okay, I'll start working on that tomorrow.
All right.
And I'll send it around to,
What's next?
I'll send it to you, and then once you're okay with it, I'll send it around to everybody.
Yeah.
else. Just make sure it's. Do you guys have any suggestions?
I know. Jeffrey, did you find any errors in the minutes?
Yeah.
yeah, but, so you're gonna do it tonight. Let me just say this, and I sent it to Nikki just now.
Okay.
Me too.
I sent it to you.
Okay, I'll put it
So,
tonight.
so she'll do it for Saturday and Monday?
She can do it for Saturday and Tuesday. Because
Say Saturday and Monday.
Saturday and Monday?
because Monday she'd have to post it to them I can do it on Sunday,
Okay.
because if not, we'd pay Nikki 3 hours overtime to post
yeah,
one thing.
so-
You can do it on Sunday then.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did we say? So it's night, Saturday.
Good.
Well, you know what? I bet Seton could do it on Sunday.
Right.
Are you all gonna put the sign back up?
Yes. We have to wait till tomorrow, because today's Tuesday.
That's true.
Okay,
Gotta vote flag.
oh yeah, minutes.
Oh,
What did you
dear.
find, Jeffrey?
Actually, I found a tiny.
So excited about it.
It's just impossible. Let me, wait a minute.
They're all the way- they're sort of like-
English is that good.
Start after the parking committee thing. Parking committee list. And then the page.
Plus 4 pages.
Can't find it. Wouldn't it be at the end?
Yeah, it's the last 4 pages. If you don't,
I see it.
It's hiding from you.
Extra page. Okay, here it is. Okay, under B, citizens' comments. It should be number 1, Ms. Lawler introduced, and then 2 would be Mr. Hornick. Let's get rid of number 3.
So Ms. Lawler introduced herself.
And then number 2 would be Mr. Hornick, another candidate. Other than that, it's perfect. I struggled to find that one little correction.
Some people do.
Good job,
Sudoku.
Nikki.
Jeffrey does.
Jeffrey,
Good job, Nikki.
Good job, Nikki.
good job, Jeffrey, for
All right, we gotta let
So,
Nikki get to
someone want a
bed.
motion to approve them?
I would make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Is there any other business to come before the trustees?
No.
I would make a motion. to adjourn. Second,
I second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye, aye, aye.
Motion carries. Somebody go get my kid.